have to. They'll come.
All day, Victra. I'm sorry. What is the plan? How will they come?
Listen.
Darrow! Darrow of Lycos, come out! You must decide what you are in the end, Darrow. Will you come out like a man? Or must we jig you out like a rat from a cage?
It's like this!
Darrow? You cannot escape! The shield is up, sky blocked. No ships can come from beyond to retrieve you. Accept your fate!
What, dissection? Is that what you think I deserve?
You're a terrorist. What rights you've had, you've given up.
Rights? To pull my wife's feet? To watch my father die? What gives you the right to take them?
There is no debate here. You are a terrorist and you must be brought to justice.
Then why are you talking with me, you bloody damn hypocrite?
Because Darrow honor still matters. It is honor that echoes.
He's going to jump.
Darrow! Don't!
You think you're honorable? You think you're good? Who is left that you love? Who do you fight for? You are alone, Cassius, but I am not. Not when I faced your brother in the passage. Not when I hid among you. Not when I lay in darkness. Not even now. Listen to the wind, Cassius. Listen to the bloody damn wind. I wouldn't expect a gold to know the sound of a claw drill. Goodbye, Cassius. Expect me.
Adjustments to a dilithium crystal chamber complete.
Pre-recorded in a second-floor guest room filled with tall ales and taller tales. Join a group of grown men intent on discussing the intricacies of fantasy and science fiction. Tim Gilbert Media presents...
Dungeons and Dweebs! Shot it right to the backside. Hello, all you fans of unprotected space vacuum adventures. This is the Dungeons and Dweebs podcast, episode 11, Morningstar, part 1. But unlike the catatonic, force-wielding rebel matron from a galaxy far, far away, the embolic airheads we're reading about have more in common with the poppin' fresh doughboy than with Mary Poppins. I'm your host, Bob. If your razor has etchings of your family engaged in mid-20th century holiday ritual, then you have less brains than a wad of butt lint. Jade Egg Terrorist, Abyss Walker the 13th. But I'm not alone. Across the table from me, he's crispy on the edges and bloody down the middle. He has been known to wear a rib cage as a corset while singing Big Man on Mulberry Street by Billy Joel. He's Luke.
I don't even know why I planned to say anything. Like, it's just, as soon as you hit me with that, it's gone. Wow. Okay. Give me a minute here. Wow. Okay, we are on the third book of the Red Rising Trilogy, Morningstar by Pierce Brown. Oh, I gotta take a breath. Bob, you done something to me. Let's kick this thing off right away. To my left, he knows the way. It's Cloud.
Good morrow, my low-color wildlings. Uncle Clob has put on his one-piece belted snowsuit and rode his sleg dog to the studio today. We've come to yet another long winter. Skaters have been on the ice, and hallelujah, the Blackhawks lost last night. I looked out my window today to see two obsidians making love through the wind gusts as a giant undead polar bear watched them in fascination.
Oh, what? He's mixing so many fan fictions together, I don't know how to handle this.
Across the table from me, tonight he looks like a strange, nerdy Hunter S. Thompson. He's too young to know the sweet taste of Ecto Cooler and Cheetos while sitting on the basement floor playing Contra on a console TV. The short round to my Dr. Jones. Neil, how are you?
Oh, I am feeling much better after that intro. And Despite the fact that I am in this wonderful 80s attire, it's all part of my master plan, going back to the first one I appeared on, of my takeover. I figure if I dress like you two, I have a much better chance of getting towards the takeover
Oh my
moment.
goodness.
I will restate my previous statement.
Sounds familiar. You tell my D&D character that so many times, too.
Oh, man.
Neil, you walked in here wearing that, and I just asked you, that shirt looks like it was barfed out of the 80s.
It is fantastic.
It is.
I believe a picture of this is going up on Facebook.
Yes, I already took a picture of it. This is going up for sure.
Target is a wonderful place. I will just say that.
Yeah.
Well, we are starting on the road to the end here. The third book in the trilogy, Morning Star by Pierce Brown. The first two books have really, I think all of us unanimously, we have really liked them. We've had a couple quibbles, some issues, but for the most part, this has been a really strong series. But Luke, previous series, you have said the end of a trilogy can make or break your feelings. It can.
And you know what?
Trilogy.
We coming into this was like, I brought this book to you guys. I was a big fan of the first book, but I never really made it through the second book. Mm-hmm. If I'm going to say, just bold statement right away, I'm already liking the third book more than the second book. It is just, but I'm only halfway through the third book. Make a note of that. We're kind of going the same way I did last time, where I've only read up until the point we're going to stop recording.
Right. So from here, listeners know that that Neil and I have both finished reading the book, and you and Luke and Klob, you're both halfway through.
Correct. So only through this podcast.
Right.
And this through this transmission.
Yeah. So that way, when we're talking about things, it's good to know that we're both Neil and I are coming from a point of knowing what's coming, and you guys are saying things not sure of where things are.
And
going.
have you read this one before?
I had, yes, and this was my second read through.
Oh, you did finish it. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm good to go.
What about
and kind of like you, Luke? I had read the first two. And then sometimes trilogies, I'll tire of a trilogy and not just push through to the end of it. And I'll just kind of like leave it savoring off in the distance. And that's what I did. And by the time I was kind of coming around to finishing up and reading Morning Star, we had started talking about the podcast and had other books on the line, and I knew we were coming to it. So I never read Morning Star until now.
Well, and I'll talk about this a little bit when we get fully into Morning Star. I had a hard time starting this one. With the 85 other things that I have going on. I had a hard time forcing myself to make time to start it.
Right. And let's not like it's a huge thing, but it does sometimes register on people's radar. These books have been getting slightly larger as we've been going along, and Morning Star is the largest of the three.
Yeah, and rumor has it Iron Gold is even larger.
Iron Gold is much larger. I believe it's 700 something. I should really have Amazon up to look.
Yeah. Chris Brown, what are you doing, man?
Many wonderful things. Don't you dare say that.
You are right. You are right. But hey, should we can keep just discussing this vaguely, or we can actually dive into this thing.
Right.
Hey, before we do that, though, I need another drink. I need to check in on the hockey game, and let's go sit by the fire.
Hey,
that's a good
it's cold.
You know what?
Yeah.
It's been a while. I got this round, boys. Let's go.
Thanks.
Hey, we don't serve their kind.
Do you have any blue milk?
But what am I supposed to find in it? Oh my goodness. It's bigger on the inside.
I want to go to Tashi Station and pick up some power converters.
Okay, it's not a detonator. It's just a jammy dodger.
What'll it be, boys?
Tavern Talk.
All right, well, we're here cozied up around the fire. It is a cold northern winter out there. I can feel the wind howling against the leaded glass windows, but
Winter has come.
I guess so.
Luke, what's new in your nerd universe?
New in my nerd universe. Last episode 10, I had discussed that the new season of Travelers was coming out on Netflix. Sat down, binged it. And no spoilers here. The only thing I'm going to say is it's feeling very formulaic, and I'm kind of starting to lose interest in it.
Oh, no.
And it's a show about time travel. I love time travel. I've been having a lot of fun watching up until it was the last 10 minutes of the last episode. I'm like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
But you know what? The end of the last season was just like that, and I'm not a fan of the fact I have to wait a year. Probably.
Right.
for the next season.
Problems.
Come on. Yeah. I
2000s problems. I don't know about our 80s people. What do they think about that sort of thing?
Right?
Well, you guys never bought a box set of VHSs, sat down and just watched it?
yeah. When's Last Crusade coming out?
I had the original trilogy box set.
Yep.
I had the original Die Hard trilogy box set.
Yeah. No,
and I had the original Star Wars box set.
I had that.
I had that Star Wars box
I had
set.
that Star Wars VHS box set too, and I remember there was a Suncoast Pictures in the mall.
Oh God, Suncoast Pictures.
Yeah, that was, and I remember just lusting over that box. I'm like, because I had them individually, but there was this box set where the flaps opened up on the side and everything. Yeah, and I'd look at them like, oh, but I think it was like $80, $90. It was something crazy.
Whoa.
But I think I found it for much cheaper.
I mean, that's what I don't remember how much VHS.
But can you imagine paying nowadays $80, $90 for 3 VHSs of Star Wars?
I paid $90 for the complete Blu-ray.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
I mean,
6 on Blu-ray.
That's what I'm saying. It's kind of staying level, as far as price point. You're going to always pay $80 for these movies.
I can't remember what I was looking at. It must have been like all 6 Star Wars on Bluray.
Yep,
It's
that's what I
$90.
have. Is it's $90.
Yeah. I think it was like 85 or 82.96 or something at Walmart.
You can buy the Star Wars VHS trilogy for $8 on eBay.
$8? 80.
I was gonna say, I mean, you don't need to buy it for $8 on eBay. I have 2 out of 3 in the other room. The originals too.
That's
The
interesting.
The VHS tapes themselves are $8 on eBay. However, the VCR is now $90.
A functioning VCR.
Yeah, although I'll have to say I have toyed around with finding the laser discs and buying the laser discs of the original trilogy just to have them because they're untouched. They have none of the extra pre-90s stuff. All of that stuff.
Han shot first. Jabba was just a fat guy in a suit. He wasn't even a
No,
slug.
that was never released.
That was never released. That was a
really?
cut scene.
That's a cutscene.
That was a full. That scene was fully cut from the original.
Oh, you know what? I'm thinking of. I must have the they came.
It was the re-release.
Yeah, the re-release
Yep.
where it's every movie starts with Lucas and
That's
everybody talking.
that's
what I'm
the
thinking
box
of.
set you have is those remasters that the original trilogy one last time. That was the whole marketing for that. Is it's the last time you'll be able to get the original.
Yeah.
No, I have.
But
I have
lies, they
I
had
have
it on
the,
a DVD like in the early
no
thousands.
kidding.
Yeah.
I have the black boxed.
Yep, I have that one
VHSs
too.
and then the gold re-release.
Yep,
That's what I have.
That's, yep.
Anyway, it hasn't just been all travelers. Something I've been kind of gearing up towards. I drop subtle hints on it in my tweets and things I say on the show and pictures of the shirts I wear. I'm a huge Critical Role fan. This Dungeons and Dragons, a show where a bunch of nerdy voice actors sit around and play Dungeons and Dragons.
Nice
Yeah. The new campaign starts tonight, and I've been trying desperately to catch up. And Neil, I know you're caught up, and you're hoping we get out of here in time that you can catch the live broadcast.
Oh, we are going to make it out in time.
Why, when's the live broadcast?
Well, for
9?
our time, it's 9.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, we've got
we've
time.
got plenty of time here.
Plenty of time.
I say that now, but once we
It's
get
us.
going,
So it is
It's Dungeons and Dweebs. The Dungeons and Dweebs promise is we will talk a lot about nothing.
What's the title of the opening chapter? Are we going to talk about
We'll get
bow or bow or?
in defense, there was reasons for that.
Well, yeah, that's where I've been plowing through Critical Role, trying to catch up. And it's been good. I took a little break from it. It's a lot of show to watch.
Yes.
3-hour episodes over what
115.
plus. Wow.
It's crazy how you can just get sucked into this though.
Oh.
Highly recommend if you are a nerd, a Dungeons and Dragons fan, or if you are looking to get into Dungeons and Dragons. I just started playing D&D when I started watching this, and man, it was such an inspiration. It's not only an inspiration for like playing D&D, but also for like the voice acting we do on the show. A lot of the accents I do, a lot of the tricks I've picked up are from that. Watching 10 voice actors Is it
Plus
10?
with guest
10
stars, yeah,
plus.
when you think
Man,
about it,
the talent they have around the table is
Pretty good.
insane. But hey, I've rambled on enough. Klob, how's your nerd month week been?
Actually, it's been pretty decent. I'm finally about halfway through right now of getting caught up on last season's Game of Thrones.
Oh.
Hence why I kept throwing in wildlings and undead polar bears. And,
Okay.
really into it so far. I may have stayed up too late because they keep. That's the thing with a lot of these series is they keep ending on cliffhangers. So you're like, I can't stop.
Just one more.
The other thing that I've been doing, and I've talked about it on the show before, is I have a 10-year-old, so we're super big into Legos.
Yeah.
And so he got the 11-inch tall build-your-own Chewy.
Ooh,
which is absolute. It's like 146 pieces. It's
cool.
absolutely awesome. We also got. I say we. We also got.
Yeah, you bought yourself.
The 460 piece Milano from
That
Guardians
was
of the
so
Galaxy.
cool. You sent out a picture of it to us.
You're arguing about what you were going to buy.
Exactly. It was so. It's very, very cool. There's even a teeny tiny little baby Groot. And he's small even for Legos.
That is awesome.
The one thing I will say is Lego messed up. Lego messed up with the Milano, and the thing they messed up with the Milano is they give you Nebula, but they don't give you Rocket.
What? Okay, yeah.
Try again.
Yeah, no kidding.
Something's all right there.
But very cool
Well,
doing that.
You need a bad guy to attack the ship.
Well, it comes with the Analyx, or excuse, not the Analyx, the Obelisk.
Obelisk. Okay.
It comes with the Obelisk from the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Okay.
And so you.
Well, and maybe it's a
build
repackage? Maybe they issued it for the first movie with Rocket. I don't know. And maybe now for the second one they kind of just redid the figures.
But very cool. I'm always in awe at how detailed Legos have gotten now.
Legos are amazing from when we were kids, and they were detailed when we were pretty young.
Exactly.
But
and so yeah, that's what I did. Is to smash. If I could smash those two things together, if I could find it out there, or if listeners, if you have some suggestions or some links to send to us, if I could find Game of Thrones Legos.
We talked about this off air.
I know. I want Game of Thrones Legos. I want to build the dragon. I want to build a couple of the Ironborn ships.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Exactly, right?
I didn't even think of the ships, man.
Yeah.
And so going to build the wall.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Build the wall in Castle Black.
They did all of the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, so I mean, there wouldn't be much tweaking on those Lego sets to do this.
Well,
I don't feel
would you
that
have to
the childlike age demographic is there.
Show 'em. Go on Amazon.
Go on Amazon.
Oh, it's on Amazon, of course.
They
it
have
is.
them on Amazon.
It's some custom-made
It's a-
order, but
it's a
now,
bootleg order,
Cloud
yeah.
Check, speaking of, like, money type things, do you have enough?
How much to 159 for what, 9 figures?
For just the figures, not even a set.
Admittedly custom made here.
Okay,
Is the thing that
okay.
they do throw on there, but...
Well, yeah, but when you
yeah.
talk about Lego
You
custom
got-
made, they're just swapping out heads and
It's like they did some painting.
they
on
do
all
some
this stuff,
painting,
too,
but
and-
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think
Maybe
they did quite a
3D
bit
printed
here.
something.
Yeah, but they're throwing in
might.
they're just throwing in chickens and dogs there too. I see.
Whoa, hey, there's a reason for the chickens and dogs.
True.
There are reasons.
So yeah, so that's what I've been doing. Bob, what have you been up to?
Well, I guess we kind of have a tandem thing in a way, right, Neil? Where we're going to talk about Ready Player One.
That is true, yes.
Yeah, so
that was part of my winter break reading.
Yes. So let's just kind of talk about Ready Player One because it's kind of hitting right now. Theaters it's going to be arriving in theaters shortly. The movie version of it, and it was one of those things that I had been meaning to read and hadn't, and then we had gone to see Star Wars: The Last Jedi, and the trailer for it was on the beginning, and I knew that you were reading it or had read it.
Yeah, I'd read it and talked about it just before you had started, actually.
And I know you
almost,
had said you really liked it. I've been hearing from other people that it was a really good book, so it was on my radar screen. And then watching the trailer, man,
It seemed the same as what I was
no,
expecting.
I said, boy, this trailer looks awful. Like
Yeah.
this movie does not look good, and it actually
actually-
made me read the book. I went onto Amazon,
Really?
looked at
That was your order.
Yeah, looked at the kind of the reviews on Amazon. And people were talking about how if you're a child of the 80s, this is the book for you and everything. I'm like, well, I've got to read this book. So I got it and finished reading it last night. Loved the book. Absolutely loved Ready Player One. But that leaves me with questions for what am I seeing in the trailers? Because the trailers
And this was-
do not look like what I read in the book.
We watched the trailer. Well, I brought it up for you guys when we were sitting downstairs just to watch it again before we recorded. And there's a different trailer on YouTube than we saw before The Last Jedi.
Yes.
And the one that we saw before Last Jedi made me think that I don't like this.
The one before Last Jedi made it look like this dark bluish gray take on Mad Max.
Yeah, but the one we just watched, though,
VR Mad Max.
VR Mad
VR your own Mad Max.
Yeah, Speed Racer and Mad Max combined, and I don't know.
And the one we just watched had some of those elements, but it seems like they tweak some of the scenes and placement around. But there's still moments where I'm trying to figure out, are they changing the main method of how they're doing this? What's still going to be the same? I mean, there's the big thing in the trailer is everyone's getting into a car and it looks like they're in a race.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I don't remember ever
there is not a car
race.
There is not a car race in the book, period.
So I'm wondering, what are all the changes that they're going to be making?
I am surprised because it's Steven Spielberg heading this up. And this, I'm going to say it here because I think we're already in discussion. I think January we're going to do this book, Ready Player One.
Yeah, we're compiling a list of books to do next year.
Yeah, and
2019.
Ready Player One is on it, so we don't want to. I don't want to go too far into it, but Ready Player One is a love story to the '80s, and I feel, these are just my feelings now, that even though I really enjoyed the book, I don't know that I could recommend it to absolutely everybody. If you're not really steeped in '80s lore, this book is like if you just sat around with all of your buddies and talked about all kinds of 80s stuff and threw it into a weird just melange and pulled out whatever. That's what this book is. And sometimes it...
It's really weird right now because here's Luke and I were talking after school here with another person, and they were saying the exact same things you were, that they'd heard. If you're not a fan of the 80s, you might not like this book. It's really weird how you're almost saying word for word what he said, and I'm just trying to figure out if there's a mask on here.
Yeah, well,
whether you're real or not.
Yeah, because you know what? For me, the entire book is a nostalgia trip, and in all honesty, I say this with trepidation. I don't think it's that brilliant of a book. It's got its moments, but it's really just kind of a heist-ish, we're going to try to find the gold kind of book with literally just...
Yeah, what did you say? It was capture the flag-ish with the 80s?
With just so many 80s references. Like it would just take things you knew about rock and roll, things you knew about bands and movies and video games, and pick it apart and just point it out. So as I'm reading it through, it's a nostalgia trip. But man, I feel this book is only hitting and making it big because it's perfectly timed. We're at a time where the people who are reviewing books and putting out blogs about books and everything else are kind of in that demographic.
And Stranger Things really helped with that too.
Stranger Things is helping that out. Retro synthwave music is hitting big. There's this wave of 80s nostalgia that's hitting that I feel Ready Player One is riding. I was gonna ask,
you brought up Stranger Things. Where does it compare? I mean, there's a lot. I mean, Stranger Things it looks like it's in the 80s, and there is a lot of 80s references in Stranger Things. Well, how does this compare?
Here's where I'm going to throw out my prediction.
Okay.
My prediction is Stranger Things is doing it right by tapping into what all of the parents, because kids are loving this Stranger Things as well as their 30, 40-year-old parents. And I think it's doing the perfect tapping into exactly what the 80s kind of culture looks like, but yet updating it slightly. I feel this, I'm going to predict it now, this movie is not going to do well. And I feel the reason for that is when I read this book, how it's presented is that as you move from world to world, things should look very 80s, very Stranger Things. The person who programmed this made everything as an homage to his childhood. And so there's times you are in an Atari game. You are in a recreation of a Dungeons and Dragons level.
Yeah,
R2-D2's a disc jockey. You're and when I'm reading it, I'm going, you said, Claude, that Steven Spielberg's on record as saying something about he didn't want to just make a movie that's like
he's on record about he pulled and changed a lot of the references to his stuff.
Yeah.
And because of the fact that he kind of didn't want it to seem like he was stroking his own ego.
Yeah, right. And you know what?
I want to make a movie about all the cool things I've done.
I actually feel that Steven Spielberg is actually not telling the truth in that. And what I think he's doing is, when you read this book, there is way too many licenses you'd have to pull.
Well,
when you read it, to do it any justice, you would have to go from here to Japan and back, pulling licenses from every company, from Konami to Atari to rock bands to everything. And in fact, that first trailer plays
Tom Sawyer.
Tom Sawyer, not in this book. It's all Rush 2112 album. Okay. That's what is supposed to be throughout the No Tom Sawyer. Rush 2112 album is what
And
should be
looking
being
at the
played.
trailer, though, thinking of, I remember way back when I first watched the trailer, it's, okay, there's a 2-minute trailer, but here's a 20-minute breakdown of all the hidden things in the trailer.
Actually,
Yeah.
I
And
saw
if
that when I
you-
looked that up.
And
for
if
you
you're
guys.
watching and looking at everything, there's a lot more where it seems more 90s references than there's actually
Yeah.
more 80s references.
Oh, really?
I
Yeah.
mean,
I feel they
looking
just
at-
went through. Who can we pull? What
Right.
references
Yep.
can we get? What do
And
we have
I can
access to?
afford.
What
And
can we
with-
afford? Yeah.
And with the way that the book is set up about this virtual reality world, I can understand how they can get away with it.
Oh,
and I
definitely.
don't want to say any more in case of next January and
Yeah,
stuff
you
like
never
that,
know,
because
yeah.
there's way too much we could probably do on it.
Yeah, and it'll be fun to talk about it after the movies come out and see how it does, and we can actually see the whole movie. I feel a lot is being kept from us, and maybe there is all that '80s nostalgia in there. It's just not
Hopefully.
being shown. Maybe whoever's marketing it is saying, "Oh, don't show that; people won't respond." But I feel who's ever in charge of marketing this movie, if it does look super '80s, they should be fired because
Yeah, not
you need to
having read
market
the
it.
book, looking at the CGI in this movie, it looks like PS2 graphics.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's what they're going for.
I don't.
Because it's not
Like, ju-
supposed to look that
Just
way.
go straight up, 8/16-bit if you want
That
to,
in the
you
book,
know?
that's what it would be
There's
in a
parts
lot
of
of
it,
ways.
yes.
There's parts where you're on kind of Tron world.
And I'm not.
you know?
it felt more. I don't know, for anime fans, it felt more Sword Art Online. Like that's what I felt.
Final
It was-
Fantasy, his character
Final-
even kind of
yeah,
looks
like
Fantasy.
anime.
And there's the big shot of the WoW orc.
Yeah, what,
Yeah, that's right.
Or something.
There's the orc that's thrown in there.
Yeah, there's the
Or-
Oh,
yeah,
the
yeah,
World of
there's-
Warcraft.
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
The WoW. I thought even there was an orc that said "Wow." I'm like, what?
No.
Yeah, right.
That's a good reference, though, Cloud.
Yeah, that is a
So,
good
however, I did play a lot of WoW in college
Did you
because
really?
it just came out.
Wow.
I like you more now.
Wow.
I don't know what to think anymore.
That's really funny.
But
Man.
the other part of Bob and my's tandem here
Yeah.
comes from over our break again. I had another book I read. Apparently, I read during break a lot for some reason, only over 2 days.
Right.
But the other book was Prince of Thorns by what is it?
Mark Lawrence?
Mark Lawrence, yes.
So-
and I remember talking with Klob and not Klob, sorry, Klob.
Me.
And Bob.
Yep.
Sorry.
I'm a big
And,
fan of Prince of Thorns.
I think my exact text message was, God, I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah.
I don't know how I like this age thing. And it's something we talked about with Darrow and all this other
Yeah,
stuff.
we
And-
thought this is relevant to this conversation because Darrow had been so young.
Yep. And
Right?
then here the character is 13 or 14.
Yes.
And I couldn't do it.
Right.
Could not do it. I couldn't picture this 13 or 14-year-old doing some of these things. And Bob, I know after I gave you my review and ranking on it,
Yeah. So
seemed kind of hurt
should
with
we
your
come on-
little cry face
so,
emoji.
So Prince of Thorns, let's bring it out there. I love Prince of Thorns, the entire series, but you don't.
I've
That first
only read
is
one book. So
Well, are you going to continue?
I might to possibly. It could get better. I mean,
Right.
I'm not someone who every now and then, sometimes the first book is bad and it has to get better. But sometimes trilogies work that way.
Yeah.
If you go into Goodreads, Prince of Thorns seems to be one of those books that is either loved or really reviled. One of the two. And more than just the age of the character, it is extremely brutal. There's kind of odd thing. I mean, it's a very brutal book as well that this kind of 13-year-old is also doing things and kind of revisiting that whole thing of, so what are you guys comfortable with? As terms of age of character and what they're doing. And we brought it up with Red Rising that we had issues with age and everything like that. And so I ended up posting a thing, not for Dungeons and Dweebs. I kind of messed that up. I didn't post it there. I posted on my own personal one and sent it out to a bunch of things with a picture from the book saying, what do you think about ages? I posted one to the Prince of Thorns Facebook page, which we're not sure if that is
If it's the official
Mark
page
Lawrence.
or
There is no other page but this one.
Okay.
It's got a lot of.
It
got like.
seems like it's run by the author.
It seems like it's run by the author.
But we don't know for
We
sure.
kind of read through it, so we're and even by the kind of the replies we've been getting, we're kind of thinking this is the author, but not sure.
Yes.
But what he ends up saying, is that because I had thrown out there this. So I have a question for those of like mind. I love Prince of Thorns books, but when recommending them, I find many of my friends have trouble with the age of Jorg, the main character. It's a real stumbling block for people, and I've found it will either make or break the series for people. Any advice on what to tell them? And I think this is the author. He says, well, it depends on the nature of their stumble. If they don't want to read a book with a young protagonist, then what can you do? Though I guess you could say that he is far from average and has the intelligence and drive of an adult. If their problem is that a 14-year-old is acting with more poise and maturity than most, You could look incredulous and say, you know that there is magic in the book and monsters, but the fact this person is acting a few years older than his numerical age is your problem. And if that doesn't help, well, then it's their loss. Smiley winky face. So what do you guys think about the age of a protagonist? And especially in fantasy, you're already dealing with dragons and magic and everything else. How does age factor in for you?
So going back to Klob actually here, talking about Game of Thrones, and I'm going back to the books, and the characters are pretty young in the books. They're between 7 or 3 if you talk about Rickon Stark, up to about 15 or 16, I want to say, with where Daenerys starts in the book. But notice that when it came to the TV show, they all aged him up because they had to make it more appropriate. And I find that interesting that this is the same age idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas here, book-wise, he starts kind of going, I don't want to say evil, if you will, but very, very out there at 9 is what happens when his first moment occurs.
Well,
and at 9, I'm picturing the second graders currently in school. And saying that in the 4 years of him being out on the road as a second grader, it really bothers me.
So I'm gonna go ahead, Clive.
And I'm gonna jump in here and throw. And
thank you.
I'm okay with it I'm okay with the evil age group, or the characters having transformations or bringing out their true character at a young age, as long as you're William Golding it, as long as you're Lord of the Fliesing it, going through it in that respect, I can be okay with an evil 10-year-old.
Yes, I agree. I think it depends on what they are doing, and I'm going to actually side with Neil here. Even though I love Prince of Thorns, I kind of hid my actual belief about the book here
for the age
part of it, because reading the book, I was with Neil. I utterly hated that he was 13, and I rejected it. And so in my mind, I said, well, this is fantasy. He's 20. Or 18. I'm switching his age mainly because, not that, like you said, Klob, I couldn't care less if they're young, if they're Lord of the Fliesing it, and what they're doing as an evil youngster seems to...
If it's some comment about humanity or some...
And it seems realistic.
Yes.
But this character is like leading kind of a group of rogues, and some of them are huge 30-year-old guys who are muscle-bound with axes and swords, and he's like running up to him and grabbing him and like throwing him around and like, telling them to screw off and all this stuff. I'm like, no group of 30-year-old men would let a 13-year-old run around and do this stuff. Like, and I think coming from a group of people here sitting here that work with that, like sometimes I wonder if authors have actually any real world knowledge of the age of characters, or, the age of kids and how they actually act. Because when you think back to how you were at 13... Yeah, I always tell this story all the time, and I know we're going long on Tavern Talk, but I always go back to this story. When I was young and in school, I remember this kid who was like a 16, 17-year-old, and he'd always hang out. Back then, they'd go across the street to the Catholic church and hang around the stop sign and smoke cigarettes. As soon as the bus would leave them off in the morning.
Every town has the church across from the high school where the high schoolers would walk and go behind and smoke.
Right? And in my mind, this kid, it's like 1989, 88, 89. He's got kind of the weird quasi mullet. He's smoking. He's got the George Michael earrings. Like, to me, at 8 years old, he was George Michael, and I remembered him as being like scruffy, old George Michael. I was
not the kid from the Goldbergs.
Yeah, I was. No, I'm not kidding, Clive. I looked back through an old high school yearbook and saw him. I'm like, yeah, these kids, because I used to be in plays and whatever and whatnot with them. I looked him up. No, that's exactly who he looked like. I remembered him as being this old-looking, and I feel like people who don't continue to work with kids project back what they think they were at that age.
Or what they think they saw
at that age.
And it's definitely different.
And when you work with kids who are we work with kids that are, whole rooms full of kids that are at that age group, you are like, none of this would work. Not like
and even to that reply you got from that Facebook post, you showed that to me earlier in the day. I was totally on board with it. But even I'm going to hit you with something else. Like, okay, you're going to spend all this time writing all this fantasy with dragons and magic and monsters, but taking a 1 and a 3 and flipping them the other way and making him 31 instead of 13 is somehow harder.
Or, yeah.
Like, as
or
a
even
writer.
finishing the 8 so that he's 18.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
I guess, and a lot of times, I guess I don't know. What are you trying to make a statement of in your story?
What is the point?
What is the point of having them? What kind of statement are you trying to make?
Alienating your audience.
And I get the idea of like, because dystopia is big now, and so this idea that a young protagonist raised in a dystopia will somehow be stronger, tougher, harder, but that doesn't change physical ages of puberty and body mass and strength. I don't care how big you thought you were at 15, you weren't that big. you know what I'm saying? And sometimes
I know I was small at 15, which means I was probably much smaller.
Exactly.
Actually, I will hit you with, I have been this big since the 8th grade. Growing up hurt for me.
That's true. That's true. But that's just kind of our throw out on ages. And so join the conversation if you're out there listening. Go to our Facebook page. What do you guys think? Maybe I'll repost to our Facebook the question about age of protagonists and what you guys think about it, and make a comment on it.
And I'll throw it out on Twitter too. I really do defend it. Make me believe that it's a good idea that the protagonist is so young.
And it doesn't even have to be the protagonist. I mean, it could be the antagonist as well.
Yeah.
Every time that watching Game of Thrones and rewatching some of the older episodes, and you have some of the evil lords that are like 10, 12, 13 years old, all I see is Stewie from Blue Harvest. When they did the Star Wars spoof.
Yep.
And Stewie was Vader.
Yeah.
Right.
So again, throw that out to our Facebook page. Throw that out to Twitter. Join the conversation. I tell you what, though, I need to get into this book because I need to talk about the beginning of this book.
There must be a hockey game on tonight.
I've never seen you this rush.
Let's grab another round. Let's dive into Morning Star.
All right. Hey, honey, can we get another one over here?
You know Tashi Station?
I'm a leaf on the wind.
My friend got fired from there.
I'm a leaf.
Waiting around for that Skywalker kid to come pick up the power convoys. He got downloads into his systems.
Aye, pull up a chair, friend.
E.T. phone home.
All right, so here we go. Last book of the original Red Rising trilogy.
Yeah.
Morning Star by Pierce Brown.
Ooh, exciting.
Yes, but Bob, do you got a synopsis ready for us?
I surely do. Morning Star, Pierce Brown, Del Rey Books, February 9th, 2016. Things went badly for Darrow at the end of Book 2, Golden Sun, and now he is a prisoner of his arch enemy, the Jackal, forced to endure torture and maltreatment. He has been given up for dead by the Sons of Ares and all who once followed him. All but Severo, that is. He's never stopped searching for his friend, and he sends a rescue team. Darrow awakens to find his mother and Uncle Neril, Dancer, and Victra also survived the betrayal at the end of Golden Sun. But it is not an easy road for Darrow, as his body has been savaged and needs time to heal. After some well-deserved R&R, Darrow tackles his first big mission, one of Mars's moons. Phobos is the main distributor of helium-3 to the Society, and run by one of the richest men in the solar system, Quicksilver. The Sons of Ares believe he is the silent partner of the Jackal. Darrow and his crew break into Quicksilver's tower and interrupt negotiations between many of the top golds in society, including Cassius and Mustang. After a bloody struggle, they are able to capture Quicksilver. But far from being an enemy, they discover that Quicksilver is the founder of the Sons of Ares and is silently leading a rebellion of golds. Making their getaway, they are shot down by a pursuing ship and find themselves stranded in the frozen wastes of Mars's polar region, the homeland of the Obsidians. But the heroes are not alone. The ship which had pursued them also crashed, containing Cassius and Ea, among others. This will lead to a struggle where Cassius takes an arrow to the throat. And Ea falls down a hill and Ragnar comes tumbling after. Unfortunately, his wounds prove too severe and Ragnar dies, but no time to more. Ragnar's convenient replacement, his sister, Sephi, dives in to take his place. They all go to the Obsidian capital to visit Sephi's mom. But Mom is stuck in the old world, believing the golds to be gods. Sephi comes to realize that they are not, and are subjecting and using the Obsidian people. In a nice Freudian moment, Sephi kills her mother and takes the throne, pledging her people to war against the Golds with Darrow. Darrow learns from Cassius that the Jackal has been stockpiling nukes, so in an attempt to protect Mars and his people, he decides to take the war to the Outer Rim. They arrive around Jupiter and attempt to convince its leader, Romulus Aura, to join them in the fight against the Sovereign and the Corps. But Darrow isn't the only one who wants to sway the Archgovernor. Darrow's old friend, Rock, is there as well. Romulus meets with both men, giving them the opportunity to say his opinion to either side. Darrow manipulates Romulus by convincing him the Sovereign was planning on using the missing nukes against the Rim. Thus begins the Battle of Ilium. A massive space campaign commences, but in the end, Roke is defeated and tragically and poetically takes his own life. Now with a more powerful fleet, Darrow returns to the core, the final battle in his long struggle to topple the society. Upon approaching Luna, Darrow waxes nostalgic, and with soft heart frees Cassius. But Cassius and fellow prisoner Antonia overpower Darrow, Mustang, and Severo. Severo is killed, and all three are dumped in a container and taken to the Sovereign in her underground war room. Some old friends are at the party, the Jackal and Aya. The Sovereign plans on broadcasting Darrow's execution to the entire society to take the wind out of the rebellion's sails. But at the last minute, Cassius kills the guards and frees Darrow and Mustang. The entire capture was Darrow's plan all along. To get him close to the Sovereign meets her end, as does Aya at the hands of a revived Severo. His death was fake news. But a wounded Jackal has one last trick up his sleeve. The missing nukes are planted all over Luna, and he begins detonating them one at a time until Darrow commits suicide. But despite millions being killed across Luna, Darrow rips the Jackal's tongue out of his mouth, and Mustang orders the fleet to destroy the command ships setting off the nukes. Darrow and crew emerge from the bunker victorious, but instead of Darrow, it's Mustang, Sovereign's head in hand, who ascends the Senate stairs and assumes control of society. She begins the long struggle to disband society's color system. We end on Earth, and Mustang revealing that during his imprisonment, she gave birth in secret to their son, Pax. Darrow swears he will build a better world for his son. Darrow's rise is complete, but his struggle is not.
So there we go. You boys ready to jump into this?
A lot of things going on, a lot of things happening, a lot of things rolling forward. Let's begin.
I was definitely here for all of that. Wink.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, nudge.
Hey, well, let's climb into the dark hole.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey.
We ended book 2 in a tragedy, right? Oops. And we're all wondering how will Darrow recover. And there's this, again, the opening kind of vignette scene, and we find Roke weeping over those that are lost. The Jackal placing a mask over Darrow. But it is Darrow who rages inside. And Darrow who calls himself the Reaper, and he will bring about his own rebirth this time. What did you guys think of this little stinger at the beginning?
I think I missed it.
Yes.
I was not a fan, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I didn't. Once we got past the little stinger at the beginning here, once we got past this little vignette scene,
Yep.
It should have just started there. Start me in the hole.
Yeah. You know, I think with Red Rising, you're a new author, and you're going to try to hook people immediately. Mm-hmm. And it was a really good one at the beginning of Red Rising. Pierce Brown's so good. He doesn't need this. This is just kind of the play on like, hey, let's try to get you into this book. We're in, man. Like when this new book comes out, we're just gonna buy it and binge this son of a gun. Yeah. Like you don't need to hook us with this a page and a half thing.
And like I said in the beginning, I had a hard time getting into the start of this book, and that vignette was part of it because really? Again, we've talked about this in the past. It's the third book in the trilogy.
Yeah,
I've read everybody's read the other two. If you're picking up the third book in the trilogy going, wow, I think I'll start here.
That's your own fault.
That's your fault.
In defense, sometimes that's the only book the library has, and you want to start a series somehow.
Then you don't start the series.
You don't start the series there. You don't need the previously in Red Rising trilogy.
Yeah. I totally missed it, so I didn't have this experience. What I wrote down, like, hey, a map. Coming into this, post tragedy at Darrow's crowning or whatever was going on there. All of a sudden, I'm thrown in here. We have a map. It looks like there's 3 factions: the Loyalists, House Augustus in quotation or in parenthesis, the Jackal, and the Moon Lords Rebellion. I don't know what this means at this point in the book. And I did write it down. And a recap of books 1 and 2. Good idea. It's there if you need it, I guess.
Well, let's picture example. Say, Bob specifically here. The last time you read, when you talked about you read it the first time, you read 1 and 2. How long did you wait until 3?
Yeah, well, I
would
agree.
that have been a good thing for you?
It does help. And actually,
we are in a unique situation.
I am going to really defend the solar system kind of breakdown here because I guess you probably haven't gotten to it. I kind of found myself flipping to this a lot in the last part of the book.
Okay.
Because a lot happens around Jupiter, around these moons, and actually even some of the strategy that is used for the ship-to-ship combat and what's going on. You're kind of like, okay, where's that moon in relation to this moon, and who's coming around what? And it kind of worked out.
And again, I would have liked, even in the first part of the book, I would have liked a little bit more explanation here throughout the entire series of our engines. Our starship. How fast can you make it between A and B?
Yeah.
Because you never get a feel, and it always feels like it's a little bit different for different characters to be able to go from A and B.
And there's kind of moments there where they're like, well, how long is that going to take? And then they don't explain it and gloss over it.
In fact, I think I make a mental note of it. I'm pretty sure it's not until part 3 or part 4 of this book when we finally get our first, I think I wrote it in my notes we get our first hint of time frame of how long it took them to get from Jupiter back to Mars.
Today, just because I knew we were going to be recording today, I went and I spent some time on the Red Rising Reddit. And we are not the only ones who have issues with the time frame of travel. And it's, a lot of people are just like, you know what, it's not necessary to the plot, so that's why he cut it out. And there are people defending him, but you know what, I
disagree. We spend an awful lot of time in one-room apartments with 2 characters yapping at each other, but we don't care about how long it takes to get from one place.
I'm totally on your side.
I know.
In 2018, where we are legitimately looking at going to Mars as human beings and how long that's going to take us with the engines we have now, we've all watched Star Trek, we've all watched Star Wars, we've all watched Battlestar, where we have some idea of how long trips can take with different types of fictional engines.
Yep.
And look what we've done. Before we even got to part 1, we're already up on a tangent on something that's completely...
Shut it
down. All right.
So sorry. So cue the Muppets. Moving right along.
to part 1 of this book. Okay, so I read it as Thorns. Did you guys? We're taking shots at ourselves right now. Chapter 1.
If we can't pick on ourselves, we have no business picking on anybody else.
Exactly. So chapter 1, only the dark. Darrow has been studied by Octavia because it was said in the previous novel that she is going to dissect him, right? And find out how he was carved. He's now in this small cell and wrestling with his demons.
And we're a year out. From the end of the last book because what was it? It's 3 months. He was in interrogation, and then he's been in the box now for 9.
Yeah.
And we do get that eventually, but in chapter 1, we're just kind of left with this. He's being tormented by the quote unquote darkness. I never really felt that it was too cleverly written, but I'm glad we don't spend too much time on this. We just get this little experiencing with Darrow what he feels in here, how his muscles ache because he's so small he can't move.
And just like we talked about when he was in the torpedo tube being ready to fire off, I did get a great feel from Pierce here of claustrophobia.
Oh,
right. Yes. And I agree with both of you, that claustrophobic element, and I it's the perfect length because I don't like to dwell on the contemplative, I just want to kill myself. Oh, who am I? I'm going to bash my head into this wall. Oh, everything is horrible. That's great. I'm glad that we take our protagonist and drag him to the personal and physical depths that he can possibly be at.
And I like how Pierce brought up the, he's a gold and he's been built and he's been structured, but dude's still got to eat in the box if they're going to keep him alive. And so they go into the descriptions of the tubes that are pumping nutrients into him to keep him alive, and it's just brutal.
Yeah, it's disgusting. these gruesome details of what he's suffering through, of how he's surviving. A little bit of that he was tortured by the jackal in Attica, and that the jackal's device he used was, I have your family, and all you have to do is tell me that you give up, and I'll bring you to them.
Right.
And it's
which I love. I love that.
It's totally Darrow.
And it's totally the jackal.
Yeah.
And great cultural reference there with bringing, we've had Greek, we've had Roman, we've had Norse here. Great, reference to Attica for the prison.
Where's Attica? What is that from?
Attica was one of the United States high security prisons in the 20s.
So you're talking about these Greek and Romans. I'm like, I don't remember that in those. But yeah, at the end of this chapter, Darrow just snaps and he's like, I don't even care. I've been here too long, and it's he can't keep track of the months, the days, the hours, the minutes, anything. He just starts bashing his head into the wall. He's like, I'm done. I'm ending this now.
Right.
And all of a sudden,
Karen, how long's it been? It's been 37 minutes.
That's what I was waiting for. Like for him to be pulled out of here. Like, so how was your first hour in there? Like, I was waiting for that, but there's some noise beyond the prison, and that's where the end of chapter 1 is.
Right. So we go into chapter 2. Prisoner L17L6363. Yeah.
Numbers.
A lot of
and it's 2 letters. They're the same letter.
It's 2 letters, but the prisoner listing here automatically brought me to Les Mis.
Oh, really?
Automatically brought me to Les Mis because there's a whole song in Les Mis where he talks about his prison number, and he's only referred to by his prison number, and he used to have a name, and he used to have an identity. And so that, with the prisoner numbers here, that automatically brought me directly into that not having he doesn't have an identity anymore.
Oh, really? And see, I always get brought to Ben-Hur, where they're out in the belly of that ship, and it's always Prisoner 41. Or THX 1138, but all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, the idea that you're now just a number, But Darrow's brought up from his solitary confinement. We find out he's a prisoner of the Jackal, right, in his mountain fortress. And he's right below the dining hall. This is like Jabba the Hutt. He's just like sitting right below the dining hall. And Cassius is there with Aya and Antonia, and Lilith is sitting on the Jackal's right hand, right? And they discuss Darrow and what they're going to do with him. And Cassius is not happy with the Jackal's methods of maintaining order.
We're kind of getting the Michael Scott effect on Cassius here.
Oh, okay.
He's been just this big jerk, but I feel, throughout his minimal appearances up until the end of part 2, we're getting redemption notes from him.
You thought Cassius was a big jerk the whole time? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I guess
I never actually saw him as a jerk.
I
saw
him in book 2.
Right. I repeat myself.
No,
I still never actually saw him as a jerk. I saw him as someone who believed so much in his own side.
Wow.
That he wasn't.
And even if he doesn't believe so much in his own side, he believes that he has his identity. He has his part to play, and this is what he has.
And that's that argument that I always see of, well, when you look at the villains, do they ever see themselves as the bad guy in their own story? And for Cassius, I saw him as too honorable to do anything villainous. I mean, look at what he's done.
Yeah.
The only time really, in my mind, where he's a jerk that I remember currently was when he was, I got Mustang after you during their little duel there. Other than that, I saw Carnus more as the big old dick that was part of that family.
Right.
Maybe I'm just sour about that. Like you took Mustang away. From
I could be.
I'm sour about that.
That could be. I'm with you, Luke, because a lot of times when I'm reading a book, if a character does something like that, very extreme, like the main character in the book, I'll just hate him for the rest of the book, and I won't see that. Like what you're seeing, the other side.
But see, I keep going back to, and I believe this is where Neil is as well. I keep going back to that friend relationship, that BFF relationship that they had in Red Rising, and how much it tore Darrow up that he was lying to his best friend, and they're defending each other. And so I kept wanting him to have that Loki aspect where he comes back and is a good guy for a while, and maybe he's going to screw it up later, but he's still the good. He still can come back and redeem himself at some point.
I agree.
Yeah, and it's here. The Jackal's lease is up on Darrow. It is his time to go back to Luna and to be dissected, like Aya said.
Right, and we get another look at kind of the depravity of the Jackal as he brings up Pink forward, whose tongue has been cut out. And he gives her a gun and orders her to shoot him. and she drops to his feet and begs forgiveness.
And
he talks about how fear will keep them in line.
With that, Pink, and here's where going back to one of the issues you had, Bob, with book 1 was the comparisons to Hunger Games. In the Hunger Games book series, there's, I believe it's called an Avox.
Okay.
It's slaves who had their tongues ripped out.
Oh, really?
And so they couldn't talk, but they were always servants. And I saw similarities. And it will happen throughout this book specifically, where I bring up a lot of moments from Hunger Games that kept reminding me here. And more than the other books entirely, for some reason. It was this one. And that was one that was never really in the movies, was those characters.
And that's a Roman and Greek thing too, where it's it's whether you're talking about tongues or other parts that they're taking away from the slaves.
Right. No.
Or Grey Worm from Game.
I was gonna say Grey Worm.
From Game of Thrones, or anything like that. Is you take that part that makes people human, and you take it away from them.
And I'm gonna jump into the side of that I feel like when something like this happens, you can always say, is this Pierce Brown robbing from another trilogy that he's read or another book series, or is it that he's...
It all goes back to the archetype.
I believe because he's so into Roman culture and Greek culture, he's going back. He's taking it from the archetype, like you're saying.
Yeah, whether it's you're tongueless or you're a eunuch or whatever you are, it's going back to that archetype of taking the humanity away. And
again, I'm going to bring up that I'm going into this book without the baggage of having read a lot of those novels. So a lot of times I might see something and be like, "This is fresh and awesome," and whereas you're going, "I've read this."
There was something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I've seen all the Hunger Games movies, but I never read the books.
Yeah,
I did read the books, and there's going to be parallels in my own mind. I'm going to I was mini spoilers for the next episode in my mind here that I ranked for Hunger Games the first 2 books very well in my reading. I did not rank the third one very high either. Spoiler, it's very similar.
Okay, very similar. Okay, nice. All right, so we're kind of coming up on the end of chapter 2. Anything else?
No.
All right, chapter 3, Snakebite. This is very important, this chapter, for the rest of the book. So no spoilers here. But I would say everybody pay attention to this chapter because it brings up something that is very important and exactly what snakebite is and what it does to you. Okay?
That's right.
So, Darrow is gagged and tortured by a bunch of Greys. And there's these Praetorians with tattoos on their necks with the number 13.
Dragoons.
Yeah, Dragoons. I like it. It's a very brutal scene. Oof.
Oh, yeah. God, I didn't even know. But again, it's these books. Where, coming off of Golden Sun, what I had said there, as soon as we know what the plan is, that's when the twist is going to come.
Exactly.
As soon as it is said, the book is going to twist.
And here in walks, all of a sudden, everybody starts getting shot.
And, I want to point out the 13 thing. These tattoos at 13, everything else, my mind immediately went in your direction because I went to the 501st Order.
Oh, good.
Vader's fist and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah,
that's Vader's fist. That is Vader's specialty. It's elite. It's the elite stormtrooper squad.
I'm covering my face up because I'm so ashamed.
You knew.
My brain is just constantly looking in the wrong place. I'm always because we've talked about Greek and Roman mythology, that is where my brain is always looking.
And Klobuchar, that is one that I didn't catch, but I bet you're 100% right.
Especially when it comes up that other characters in the book have that 13.
13 all tattooed
with
onto
that
them.
same 13 idea. I'm trying to remember some history moments. Wasn't there a Lost Legion that had a certain number from Roman history?
There's been numerous.
But there was one specific one where it was always the famous, it's the Lost Legion. They had a movie about it, they had all this stuff, and I don't remember, is that the same number? I'm just finding it as an interesting...
We've got a man on the case.
But yes, thank you, Club.
I'm pretty sure it's 13th Legion.
I think so.
But all of a sudden...
Ninth.
The 9th Legion.
Okay. That might have been
cool.
But I just found... I thought it was 13. Son of a...
But Darrow's being sprayed off with this pressure washer.
It's god-awful.
There's this...
Ooga chaka, ooga chaka, ooga chaka.
Yeah.
I don't picture.
But whenever you want to get down to the depths of what is the worst thing, it's always naked up against the wall getting sprayed with a hose. That's always the worst. That's visually.
He's getting washed. He's locked in this chair.
Don't knock it till you try.
Whoa, buddy.
Whoa. What happens in your basement stays in your basement. But
you're in my basement.
But everybody starts getting shot, and in walks Holiday T. Nakamura. I believe this is the first time we get full name here.
Yeah.
And her baby brother Trig.
Trig.
Okay, whatever reason it is, I love characters named Trig.
Yeah.
I've read, there's been a bunch of characters named Trig. I actually knew a dude named Trig years ago in college. But Trig is always comes across to me as the intellectual, soldier.
Yeah. I hear
He's gonna be the one with the plan. He's gonna be the one who's somebody's gonna make a reference and he read the book, but he'll still shoot your eye out at 700 yards.
Right.
It's funny because I pictured his sister more as the one with the plan.
But yeah, I did too. But there is some, and we'll get to that as we get into this plan here. But this struck me as kind of odd. They give Darrow his razor, and it lingers for a second on describing the razor, which I thought was kind of weird. That its grip is covered in calf skin, and the hilt is carved with a picture of Io, which I thought was very fitting. And that the blade, again, this is going to go back to, I don't know how to picture this
I took
thing.
this as they changed it for him.
Yes.
And that's why it's describing it.
Because it says
change, but I can't picture how all the artwork is actually on it.
Because here it goes. It says the blade has etchings of his mom and dad trick-or-treating. They're like trick-or-treating on it. Which I don't know. That's why in my intro I said things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know how to picture the razor once again because at times it's sounding like a whip. Sometimes it's really long. We're told it's 2 meters long. Darrow's is supposed to look like a sai, like his reforms it. So I'm taking it that it can form kind of any shape you want it to, yet it has a blade that can have etchings on it. It's not a stumbling block for me. I just go with it.
Have we before now, though, gotten the lore of carving sigils of yourself onto your razor?
Never in the book series.
Never in the book series until now. That was the one thing where I'm like, why haven't we heard about this before? Why didn't we get a description of Lorne's grandchildren going down his blade or something like that?
So that there'd be this thing that this is what their clan or something did. You would etch something into your blade, and so that Neo on his blade is a big deal.
Oh, exactly.
Neil, you have it open. For some reason in my mind, what I have was that they were more of like. You know how the blues tattoos were kind of holographic and they moved?
Okay.
They weren't actual etchings in the razor. They were just these weird holograms
that's a cool
that came off.
Here it has it is etched into the white metal.
Oh, okay.
So it actually is etched in that. And specifically it's talking about being in the curved sling blade shape of the cover. Mm-hmm. And like you said, it's a razor and
it's
later
really
on
hard to picture.
It is really hard to picture.
Even though I've seen fan art, we were looking at fan art.
We have looked at fan art, which is wildly different as to what it's picturing this razor as. And again, maybe space travel, just a slight, because again, you don't want to get overburdened in a story with descriptions. You don't want to get all fanboy and describing absolutely everything. But some of this I feel is kind of necessary. We got to create a picture.
If you're going to start describing it,
I like the fact. I do love the fact that you have a sword here that can change shape. You have a sword that can move. That has that biological, that chemical reaction with its owner, and it doesn't necessarily have it with another owner.
Right.
Later on, we go into a description of Mustang carrying her father's razor, and all the things that go into that. In book 1 when we first saw razors, or book 2 when he was, there should have been more explanation about the etching.
I agree. It's kind of like if we would have been told, never seen a lightsaber, and told this one guy has an orange one, the other one has one that's shaped like a scythe, and this guy has one etched on the blade. We'd be like, well, what is this thing? It's a laser sword, it's a what? But they give Darrow an oil change. A snake bite, which they inject right into his chest, which I don't know. It's like 5-hour energy monster. It's Red Bull.
No,
it's meth. They inject him with meth.
Yeah.
It's the adrenaline shot from Doom.
No.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it's meth.
It's meth. That's all I saw was going into God mode in Doom, where it's like.
Yeah.
And it was, I don't know, they just, later, I think it's, once he meets up with Severo and Ragnar, they're like, you injected him with that crank?
Yeah, right. Yeah, so
they
crank. They call it crank. You're right.
It's just, it's a drug. They give him meth. That's what they give him.
And again, and bookmark this because it's coming back.
Well, to be fair, if you've been in a hole for 9 months, a little meth probably is what you need.
Yeah, actually.
To actually get out of the building.
This snake bite is Chekhov's gun. It's just been hung on the wall. The snake bite.
I guess if you guys say so, I never.
Is. Well,
Okay. Add any rate, Darrow, I think, he's behaving exactly as I would have expected him to. He's very hesitant.
Right.
He's very skeptical. And it takes a direct call to Ares himself before he goes with them.
Yeah, exactly. So we move on to chapter...
New Ares, just to make sure. New Ares is Severo now.
Yes.
Because Fitchner is dead.
Right.
Fitchner is actually dead, yes.
For real this time.
So
yes.
his
Character actually died.
Sun has taken over.
Ares Jr.
So chapter 4, we have cell 2187.
Yeah, okay, Finn.
Aren't you a little short for a gold?
Yep.
Might be a little tall.
Let's go through this. We got to talk about all these references.
FN2187.
Yeah. So he's being escorted. They run into Vixus.
It is the right year to come out that he would have stolen that.
Yeah.
I checked that.
Yeah. Oh. We checked all of it. I checked all of this. Cell 2187 is where, and level 23 is where Princess Leia.
I was going to say, and you know why Finn's number was that.
What was that?
Finn's number in Star Wars was that because that was Princess Leia's cell.
Bob just said that.
That's what we're just talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought, no, isn't there...
literally 2 seconds before you said that, he said that.
Yeah. No, yeah. Cell 2187, level 23, is on the Death Star where Princess Leia is being held.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And the detention block is AA23, cell 2187. Yeah, that's from the Death Star. So he is totally doing that.
Right down. Fine, we're fine. How are you?
Yeah. Right down to the fact where they end up...
long week.
Yeah, they end up taking him, and they're both shorter than him. He's in the middle. He's handcuffed, and they're leading him around.
Prisoner?
He's like the Wookiee prisoner handcuffed. They're leading him around.
Yeah, and they have his hood up so that you can't see
Isn't
his
there
face.
even a scene where they shoot up some of the cameras in the wall? Isn't that happen?
They use something to stop all the cameras in the elevator.
Holiday or Trade.
And great description once we get to the next cell here.
Yeah.
Because that's where we are.
Mm-hmm. Yep, right.
Once we open the cell, and I like the dark and light versus, he's been kept in the dark. He's been in this sensory deprivation. She's in this blinding cell with sensory overload.
Yeah, right.
And I love the juxtaposition between the two cells.
Your new word.
Yes, it's no longer Bob's. It's but talking about that aspect, I'm just kidding.
Whoa.
The only other thing I want to cover before we get to Victra in her cell, that they run into Vixus in the lift. And just because that moment was so cool, where Darrow's hiding in his hood while he's talking to the 13th Legion.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And he's like, you know what that's it. He just takes it.
Razors him. He takes his razor.
He takes his razor from Holiday and kills him, and it's
He doesn't kill him. He doesn't kill him.
Need him for information.
He stabs him in the shoulder. They need him to punch the
just go and find where Victra is and all that.
Right.
That's how they
Then they toss him, and then they toss him in the sensory overload cell.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Then he kills him.
Well, because he was going to once they rescue her, they toss him in the sensory overload cell, and Darrow's going to leave him. But no, he has to make one more
stupid
comment, so Darrow just turns around and slices him.
I like, you know what? I've been in a hole. And I'm not happy.
Yeah. Exactly.
Victra is actually, she's paralyzed. Her legs don't work. She's losing her mind. She's attacking them. They have to sedate her.
Yeah.
And it's the juxtaposition between the two prisons is awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yes.
Very cool. I mean, we're pointing out all of these, Star Wars references and stuff, but
I love that.
I loved it, and it was great.
I actually want to ask you guys this, just for pure information, maybe for the future. No,
Yeah.
but I want to, because I thought about this in depth.
Which
when I
cell
read that.
would we be tortured?
That's what I'm saying. That was my question. Which cell would be worse for you?
I'm gonna have to say the darkness. I think Darrow is where Darrow is at would be worse for me. I could handle probably.
I'm thinking Victra more.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do the overload of all the senses.
It's and then just I got either one. The human brain needs the middle.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I'm wearing glasses to help at night vision to see bright lights right now.
Is that really?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, the Hunter S. Thompson glasses are prescription. Are they? Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm shutting up.
Chapter 5, Plan C.
Chapter 5, Plan C.
What was Plan B?
Trapped in a lift shaft, Trig goes to Plan C, which I like they have. They call on the Wrathbone and the Outrider, which, by the way, Star Wars references continuing.
Really?
He must have been binging on this, because the Outrider is Dash Rendar's ship from Shadow of the Empire.
Oh, it is. That's
my
right.
God.
Yeah. And I
One
don't
of my
know.
favorite games.
So
by the
really,
way.
really deep reference. And by the way, I'd been talking back and forth with Pierce Brown, and I asked him if this is
Humble
where it was
brag.
from, and he never replied. So I don't know. But so I don't know if this is what he was going for or what. But it says Trig. Trig is also from Star Wars Empire comic book number 30 and 32, and he does a similar thing where he leads Jedi to a service lift to escape from the enemy. So I don't know if Trig. I know that Pierce Brown reads Star Wars comic books. I don't know if this was another homage. Like, he was just like, these next 3 chapters, I'm alluding to Star Wars all over the place.
You know what? My first 2 books did really well. I'm just going to layer this first one
who
with Star
even
Wars.
cares? Who's going to get this stuff? So I don't know if Trig is a Star Wars reference, too.
Maybe it's all part of the multiverse.
Maybe this is actually happening.
Is this
in
a
Star
long
Wars.
time ago? Or is this...
No, it's just far, far away.
Okay.
Actually, no, it's here.
Oh, wait, it is
It
here.
is here.
Oh.
But it is. It's so far, far away. I mean, it's.
But is it forward?
We're all
At any rate, Plan
Anyway.
C, the gang is found out, they're found out. They're taking the lift. It lurches upward. They know a team is waiting for them. So
Set off the EMP.
Which I really like that idea.
Really good.
And
I
they
love the
have
use
the
of the
old
EMP.
Because-
antique weapons that they have.
Yeah.
to
What do they
solve
call
this
them? I
problem.
can't remember. They call them.
Gunpowder weapons.
But don't they have like
pressure weapons?
something? They have a name for them. I can't
It
remember.
is really cool.
But it's very cool.
And I going through this.
Even since they're slapped with the medieval ages.
It took me a while to like kick my head around because they kept referring to him as so old. And I'm like, do they have muskets?
They don't feel left there all standing with blunderbusses. Just ramrods. Just hold on, I'm reloading.
Antiques and archaic slugs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you know what he actually does, though? Because he brings this up, he starts to describe the future weapens then in more detail.
Which is good.
Such a good job. Because
Details on future weapons. Who needs that?
But I love the fact that they bop the MTV. The MTV. They bop
The music is playing in this one.
the Ready Player One things.
Yeah.
They bop the EMP. As the elevator doors open, and then all of a sudden everybody that's standing in front of them ready to fire is just frozen.
Yeah, right.
because their armor doesn't work.
Their armor doesn't work. It's great. It's great.
And I could just hear in my mind the like barely through the metal screams that you can hear as the guys are just yelling like
Yeah, I love it. So they all make it to the landing pad, and I am tense. This is a really good scene. I really like.
I was wondering in this scene, I actually questioned whether or not they were going to get out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
A lot of times when you get the rescue scenes like this, you're like, yeah, okay, they're actually going to get out. Because a lot of times when you get the rescue scenes, you're like, okay, this is how they're going to rescue him, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I actually had the question in my brain here of, are they not going to get out and he's going to be thrown in some other cell and some other torture's going to go on
we
here?
get chapters and chapters of more torture or whatever. Yeah, I agree.
But you know what? Pierce Brown at this point is an author where I don't know what to expect.
No, you don't. Yeah,
He's done
his job.
a good job of
Yep.
keeping me guessing this entire time.
So we're launching into chapter 6, Victims, right?
Oh, this I just the only thing I want to bring just because it was so cool. Darrow's talking to Holiday and she looks up, and he's like, "What are you?" And he looks up, and all of a sudden he realizes, "Oh my God, it quit snowing."
Yeah, they just...
And that's where the chapter ends.
Yeah.
Into chapter 6, Victims.
So chapter 6, Victims, Trig is killed by Aya.
Yeah, it's a massacre.
Arrives. It's just a massacre. And like you said, Klob, worried that they're going to get captured. Me too. I'm like, oh, this is going down
here
fast,
it goes.
right?
What do you do here?
Yeah.
And I didn't expect Trig to be the one. If somebody was going to get killed in this chapter, out of the 4 of them now that are going here, I figured either they were going to drop Victra, something was going to happen there, or it was going to be Holiday. I really didn't think it was going to be
because we
Trig.
had a tenuous but somewhat of a connection to Holiday. We kind of had heard Holiday before, so so I figured, well, that's why Holiday's going to take it. But no,
and what a soldier!
I thought it was going to be more Trig.
What a
Because
soldier!
he'd
Your
been
brother
seen more
that you have this
humans.
close connection with gets slaughtered in front of you, and you're like, I have to finish the mission.
Yeah, right. No, it shows their training.
And that's why I thought it was going to be Trig, because you specifically, Klob, were able to make that more emotional connection to him. You thought he was going to be the level-headed man with the plan. I saw it as, oh yeah, he's the one who's gone.
Yeah, but
Whereas
everything
Holiday,
that-
who's just kind of a robot who's there, yeah, she's going to be fine because she has no characterization left and she has more room to grow.
Look at what has happened to the extra tertiary characters that I've made emotional connections with.
Yeah.
At this point in the trilogy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other
So the fact that I made an emotional connection with him, I'm like, geez, he's dead.
Yeah.
and the other facts,
Lauren's dead.
Every time-
Oak is a traitor.
Every time I put my heart out into this book, it just gets.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Aya's the one who shows up and kills Drake.
Yeah.
Aya
she
shows
just
up.
keeps
Which,
appearing
again,
everywhere.
I am looking at, because I've been waiting, when is this showdown going to happen between Aya and Darrow? It's
just teased.
But Darrow
Never
right now is in no position
Yeah,
to
please
have
don't
a
make the
fight.
showdown happen when he's emaciated.
Yeah,
'cause that
yeah.
would ruin it.
I mean,
If he's
he
able
is-
to beat her emaciated, then she was never that good to
Exactly,
begin with.
exactly. So Cassius and Darrow have this exchange about honor, which we did as an intro. And there's this shield up so no ships can approach. I don't know how they're going to get out of this thing. And
Yeah,
then
Darrow-
all of a sudden he hooks everything up and Darrow just bails off the edge of the landing pad. And I'm like, what's going on? Right?
Yeah,
But the rescues come from the ground.
they do, and
Well, and they're blown out. It's blown off the edge of the landing pad here. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, yeah.
Where is he going?
Yeah, what's going on? He hears this sound and everything. He knows what's going on, and he jumps up. It's the miners. The again, we don't know how to picture 5-handed mining thing drills coming up through the ground. Cool descriptions of what's going on.
Well, and these guys can't fly. Well, we don't want the miners out. We don't want the miners fighting.
Yeah,
But they can run the machines like there's no gosh darn tomorrow.
yeah, right.
I can drop this thing on a penny.
Yeah.
Don't ask me to throw a punch, but I can drop this thing on a penny.
So he jumps off, and then we're into chapter 7, Bumblebees.
I love this.
Here's a quickie chapter.
Yeah, it's and again, we have talked about this over and over and over again, and it's going to happen again here in this book, where what really kind of should be the last 3 pages of the chapter.
This book is bad about that.
Get chopped up, and I'm going to bring it up later as we do a thing.
What is this? Like, actually just 3 pages?
yes.
Yeah,
It is.
Yeah, like literally, it. I don't know why it's not just part of the chapter.
Because it wouldn't have ended the chapter on a cliffhanger.
I guess.
Yeah.
I understand though that there are some books that go really small chapters, but here since it goes back and forth between the two, I think that's why it might be a bit more of an issue.
Yeah, and literally, I mean, it's just the earth is heaving up and this drill is coming out and all the Iron Men are coming out of it, flying with their,
And I do have it hasn't hit me until now, just because we're on a planet and because I know how gravity works and I know how wind works. I have some physics problems with what's going on. So they're up on that walkway. The force field drops, the snow stops, but there's still wind howling, which doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah,
And then
true.
Darrow jumps off, and then Severo and Ragnar catch them, and this is like. This is something that's been brought up, like as far back as Superman. Okay, somebody's falling, and you jump and you catch them. You are effectively hitting them with more force than they would have hit the ground with.
Well, and I don't know if that's what's happening. I got the impression almost like he jumps off. They, at the same time, are almost like revealing the hole they've drilled in the ground.
I don't know.
And he's falling into the hole because it talks about how the tunnel walls are whipping past him, and it's almost like he's falling.
I don't
through
know.
the tunnel,
As
and
they
they
were like
come
a
up to him and
skyscraper
grab
at
him.
the top,
Yeah.
because it talks falling down into the hole of the city.
Into the hole. Oh,
Says of the
okay.
city. So I thought it was they're on a skywalk between the buildings down in Minneapolis, but no.
And it's like Iron Man kind of flies up, sidles up next to him as they're falling, and then slowly breaks.
I don't
That's
know.
what
It's
I
just
pictured.
Pierce Brown has done such a good job
Gentle
of
caress.
writing action scenes that make perfect sense to me.
This one
that,
didn't
That this
as
one hits
much.
me.
Yeah,
And I'm just immediately having, where's there's a force field. Why is there wind? They're falling.
Yeah.
Why didn't they die?
And I'm probably in agreement with you because I'm not remembering. In my notes, I have the end of the chapter description was odd, and I didn't really like it. But I'm not going to take the time now to read it. But I don't remember why I thought.
Someone died next to him and said his name.
Okay, maybe.
There is that. You might also be thinking about Darrow riding Ragnar's back and the battery pack of his ghost cloak, like riding up into his crotch.
Maybe.
There was something about that.
Yes,
Super weird.
it was warm.
It was warm.
It
Yeah,
was warm against his genitals. The battery pack. Ragnar's battery
that
pack
is
was
probably
warm
why I
against
wrote
his
that.
genitals.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that he said genitals explicitly, but
Groin.
groin. I don't
close
know.
enough.
Okay,
Anyway,
understand.
like that weird stuff happens.
And then it goes into how he knows which type of pack Ragnar's wearing because he knows the sensation of the heat.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever.
But it comes back around as we go into chapter 8, home. Positive.
Yeah. All right. So Darrow awakens to his Uncle Nerl.
Nerl!
Mother, Uncle Nerl, sir. Uncle Nerl.
And his other Uncle Nerl.
I just picture him just sitting on the front porch, you know, just listening to Charlie Daniels, cracking up paps.
See, and like the nurse walks by and is like, "Sir, you can't smoke in here. This is a hospital."
Yeah. Get out of here, you liberal. That's what he said.
It's a slower chapter. Gosh, you guys. It's a slower chapter, but and what I have written down is that it's not like the chapters I'd complained about in Golden Sun, where it's just like talking for talking's sake. And
This one was needed.
It was
Because of how long it's been since he has seen his family.
Yeah, he says
His mother knitting in the corner and
it's very well done, and I think this is kind of the beginning of where this book really starts to redeem. I really love book 2. But this is where it's really starting to like redeem what I didn't like in book 2, where there's all these like talking for talking's sake. Right now it's talking for character development's sake. Yeah. And I'm enjoying it.
I like this chapter. It might have squeaked a little bit towards the heavy-handed point for me. I like this whole betrayal of it goes into where Darrow wonders what it was like for his mother to think that her son was dead because she's thought that he's dead.
I know, and we get the explanation. This is where we get the explanation too of they executed him on live TV.
Yeah, she watched his execution, and he specifically uses the language to be broken by other men. And I'm kind of thinking, okay, the rise of Darrow was to be a rise to liberate people. I'm kind of seeing, and again, because of his propensity for Roman metaphor and things, I'm seeing this as kind of a Mary Christ metaphor. His mother watching him broken, and that kind
Mary
of thing.
Christ, Spartacus.
Yeah, Spartacus, all of that kind of thing. Okay. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting that metaphor here, and it's working, but at the same time, it's edging towards being a little heavy and maybe melodramatic in a way. You know what I'm saying? But I'm okay with it. It was still working. I just wanted to point it out.
Okay. Yeah, and we also get here that Harmony is probably the one that betrayed him to the Jackal.
Right, and that was one of our questions the last time.
How the heck did he find out?
Exactly.
Darrow had done such a good job of keeping this a secret, of never even contacting the sons when he.
Well, we were
the
talking.
one sons he did contact were the ones that threw him under the bus.
Of course.
Well, and when we were talking in the book too, because it's never really revealed in book 2 who betrayed him. We're like, oh God, did Mustang do this to him?
Yeah, right. I don't know. Did any of you else get this? Darrow starts talking to his brother-in-law Kieran, and Kieran's holding he's holding a baby. Or his brother. Yep. Yeah, brother Kieran. I kind of thought the baby was going to be Darrow's. I was sitting there going,
I
thought that was
thought it
Darrow's.
for like this, and then it was because of the.
Go ahead.
You two constantly.
Well, it's a cross-table thing here. It's because of the time frame of it. Why? How would he have his kid if it's been 8 years since he's been?
And I'm
you're right.
I'm right there with you. Like, please don't let that be his.
What confused me here was there's this whole thing where when he's going to visit his brother and his sister-in-law. Because his brother is now with Eo's sister.
His sister-in-law.
His sister-in-law.
It sounds way grosser than it is.
But they're talking about there's all these other children around, and there's a child who runs up and sits on his knee and touches it, and then it comes, and then his brother makes a reference to this is our first, and I was really confused at this portion, going, well then who are all these other kids that are in here? If this baby is your and Dio's first, who are all these other children?
I don't know. I won't lie, I don't pay attention a lot to and this is horrible, but I don't pay attention very closely to the family dynamics that are going on here. I guess I don't want to say I don't care, but I don't sit around and register. But you're right, I don't know. What are these? I don't know.
And I liked the description about, well, she looks like what EO could have looked like. And that look, of course he's going to be thinking that looks like what my kid looks like because it's my brother and her sister, so it's the same genetics.
Yeah, they're going to look very, very similar. I like here, though, again, that EO keeps being brought up as she was such a catalyst before, but again, she doesn't. And she didn't think far ahead enough. Like, what's going to happen?
Well, this has been since Golden Sun when he went back home, where he kind of realizes like.
EO was an ideologue, but didn't know how to end this thing.
You know what? When I was a kid, I really liked The Nightmare Before Christmas, but I watched it as an adult, now I don't.
Yeah, I love it. I love that.
That's actually my life. Sort of thing. His home was just this mystical place, and EO was this magical woman. And he comes back, and he's like, "This place is a dump." She was a scrawny chick who didn't really have that great of an idea.
She just propelled me to go on this crazy-minded. Now, how do we end this? What's the end game? She didn't have one.
Yeah. You know what they say:
you can never go home again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So was it? I'm going back to this darn kid thing because now I'm stuck in. Wasn't it that Dio though was married beforehand?
Okay.
And then didn't.
That sounds right.
Okay. I want to say that one of them was married to someone else beforehand, and then either husband or wife died, and then they got married, and then those are like stepkids or something.
That would
like
explain the big thing about the big point that Kieran made about this is our first.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. This is probably very important because in the next book, I'm sure this will be the big thing.
Yes, an Iron Gold is the entire tribe.
Iron Gold is all about his kids.
Both of them had their spouses die.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, both of them did.
So it is their first.
Their first.
Okay.
Whereas the rest are like the extended family.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you, Red Rising Wiki.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but this. I mean, really, honestly, why this isn't in my notes is because this really is definitely filler.
Yeah.
Yes. But it is good filler.
Once we left the hotel room, once we left the hospital room, I really, the parts between him and his mother in the hospital room.
We're good.
We're poignant and touching where she talked about I had given up my child and here you are. Yeah. And I'm sorry for that.
I agree.
Very poignant. And then we went into this and I wanted more poignant moments and then I'm just like,
never mind. I'm good now.
This was a shot for this one snippet of, well, that's what genetically my kid would look like.
Right.
That's all this scene was for.
That's all it's for. But we're going to continue on through chapter 9, the city of Ares. And I like this scene of Ragnar and Sephiroth playing with kids.
It's really funny.
Trippy.
If that last part felt like a little bit of a drag, this part at least would make it like cinematically, this would be hilarious.
And all these little low-color kids that are climbing over Ragnar.
Yeah,
and he's just taking it and having fun.
Yeah.
And Severo is just kind of twisted here, though, of his eyes moment.
Okay,
Severo's got some new eyes, just to let you know, and they're Darrow's.
Can I say I hate this?
That is,
I like the visual.
Weird.
I really
like
don't
the
like
visual
this.
of, I guess, actual like red eyes in somebody with gold hair.
Oh,
he's the goblin. He is kind of like this weird looking gold anyway. You know what?
Yeah.
Screw you guys. I got red eyes now.
But they're Darrow.
Yes, it kind of feels like you let it spit in your mouth. Like
Severo's that weird little lapdog that likes this type of
Is it wrong that I took it?
I said that. But I'm like, this is creepy. If I was Darrow, I'd be like, what? Did you just do?
And he does say it is creepy, but he kind of admires it.
Now I can keep a part of you with
me
always.
I don't know that I take this as admiration. I'd really start to not. I'd worry about Severo's.
Darrow, your hair tastes different.
I have always worried about Severo's mental state.
But we're
in all honesty, I have always worried about.
Actually, yes.
Well, come on. He never has a chance with every woman he falls in love with. They all die horribly in front of him. His best friend went away. His only real friend went away. He's trying to keep some part of him. And hey, well, his eyes are in a bag here. I tell you what, put him in me.
But you know what? I feel this is
and they've lasted this long though.
But I agree with you guys that this entire book, that's been the charm of Severo, is that he is bizarre and weird and does odd things. I feel that this might just be that step too far.
Well, and
where you kind of as a character, like some people are going to be like, this was really not.
This is the beginning of the change in Several's character since Darrow has disappeared.
He's seeing things through different eyes.
Yeah, well, since he disappeared, and things that I hate that Pierce has done with Several's character.
Oh, really? Oh, good.
Good.
Oh, good. I can't wait. Yeah. Okay.
And we're City of War right now? Or Ares?
Yeah, City of Ares,
And I like it how after, though, that they leave and Severo has this bag and, it's just candy this time. What did you bring these kids the last time? I'm really kind of troubled. And again, going back to his character. And then we get this moment of them wheeling poor Darrow in his wheelchair down the hallway.
Right.
With the banter back and forth between Ragnar and Severo.
Yeah. Keep going. This entire
Okay.
chapter of chapter 9 actually feels like I feel like he jumped the shark a little bit on this whole chapter. From the
Just because there's a sea demon reference doesn't mean it has to jump a shark.
Well, that's why I put that in there. Is because we have several, I feel, going too far with the eye thing, which makes us go, what? And then we have several telling this story about Ragnar and this sea demon and how he had to cut his way out of his butt. I'm like, either this is a fake story that's meant for comedic effect, and if it is real, it's almost comic bookish. Like, really? It's like, I don't know.
I thought Severo was just trying to hide stuff.
I feel like there's
bit.
myths of that, like almost like you're going back to Greek and albeit Nordic myths of, he swam in the Nordic Sea.
It's Beowulf.
It's Beowulf, but you don't actually apply that to real life then. Like, I know you're making your quasi-myth, but when you actually canonize that as, hey, that actually happened, it's almost a step too far. You've jumped the shark in trying to appeal to myth.
And it's Drax cutting out of the obelisk. It's Beowulf cutting out of the cutting out of the inside of the sea monster after he's swallowed.
But
you don't actually go as far as to say he Ace Ventura'd and climbed out his rear end.
But I feel that's what he did as a comedy piece, and it's a step too far. Because it doesn't.
Or if when he's telling this and talks about Ragnar climbing out of the monster's butt, if Ragnar would have slammed him against the wall as if like, no, that's not part of the story.
Yeah.
But Ragnar meanwhile just picks him up and throws him away.
Yes.
And then starts pushing the wheelchair himself.
I just felt some of the things in that chapter were odd.
Where's my chocolate? Where's my peanut butter bar?
Yeah.
All of a sudden Ragnar picks up Severo, throws him back, and all Darrow can hear is chewing above him as Ragnar's pushing his. I'm like, what weird comic effect did we need this scene for?
You know what I feel? I feel like
I was okay with it.
I feel Pierce Brown writes as a stream of consciousness. Sometimes he came home late one night from a club, eating Doritos, just sat down. You know what Severo should do? Sits down at his computer.
It's right after Halloween. He just stole the salted nut roll from his kid's bag.
He's had a bunch of monsters in him, and he's just writing.
This one later on, there's going to be a moment where it seems like forced humor, and we might have podcasted about this, Bob.
Yeah, okay.
A certain moment that we both were not happy with later in the book.
Okay.
Where it seemed very forced humor. To me, this one didn't seem as forced, even though
I agree, and I don't know that it was forced. It just seemed out of place. Ace Ventura is a good. Maybe that's what it was. I was feeling Ace Ventura off of it, and I was like,
when he climbs out of the rhino's butt.
Yeah, definitely. But we end on a really cool visual. I love this visual of them being in the refugees in the city, and they're in a stalactite and everything. And very cool.
And times are rough.
Yeah, I love
times are very rough.
It's a slum. And I'm just picturing like when you look on like what is it, Rio? When they show Rio in the movie,
they see the favelas.
They
go through the favelas
that are like
and
built
they see
on each
everything,
other, and it's slummy
Very
and
good.
steppy and kind of half-assly built.
We're not on Ready
Not
Player
counting
One.
anybody living in Rio. You have a very nice city, nice statue.
Yeah, like Ready Player One, building up all these things on top of each other.
Yeah, that's true.
Convenient that book is right there.
Okay, chapter 10.
The war.
First note, I wrote this down. I texted Bob after I read it. Roke O butt sucking Fabi. I was just like, oh my god, like Severo is so. I'm a child, and if you put like butt cheeks or butt sucking, I'm gonna laugh my butt off. Anyway, it's a huge data dump. Basically, Roke is good in space.
It's kind of funny. Right here I have data dump. The moons of Jupiter have gone into rebellion. Mustang has been leading that fight. The second moon's in rebellion. Let Neil explain the rest.
Still not sure how this works out here. All right, so going back to it, there has been the resistors that were sided with Darrow.
Yeah.
And there's the loyalists. I'm going to go back to the map just to make sure I'm saying everything right here. And this is actually the first time I've gone back to this map.
Right.
Not even during reading have I gone back to the map.
Oh, really?
But I
Okay.
want to make sure.
You want to make sure.
I want to make sure. And there's the arguments. And the Loyalists, there's a moment where all of a sudden things separate.
Yep.
And we get Moonlords, who are on the outer rim, if you will,
Right.
past the asteroid belt. And they're not happy with how different tax things have happened.
They're the
issues like
13
that.
colonies.
They're like the 13 colonies.
There's
if
the
you will,
13
yes.
colonies. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So they are Mustangs helping them more so, and that
Right.
I'm thinking that happened during this little 9-month period where
Right.
after something happened, and there is a moment where it is later where it actually does explain it, and we're not going to say anything right
Yeah,
now.
we're not gonna
to
talk.
behind this. Yep, you're welcome there, Luke. And there's the Loyalists, but the Loyalists are still even separated as well a bit. There's the Jackal, and then there's Earth, Luna, Venus, and Mercury.
Right.
The Jackal just is sitting around Mars, and that's about it for
Yeah.
him. And they have the Sword Armada get sent with Roke, a butt-sucking,
Fabi?
and he is a completely ridiculous in space, and he has not been beaten ever. Is the way that they're saying, and that comes to later moments where
And they keep referring to him as like the poet general and
Yes.
or the poet admiral, and he's
Yeah.
he's the warrior, and they keep referring to him as the warrior poet, which I saw him as at the beginning because evidently every time he wins a battle, he will do like some big rant. He'll do like some big like freestyle rant.
something, yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
But yeah, and he's beating everything back, and it seems like, well, what is then, in my mind, what is Severo doing with the Suns at this time?
Well,
He's released the tape.
He released the tape of the
Of Darrow being carved. I love that because he's made Darrow a messiah.
Right, yeah. And
He's made him larger. than life.
Everybody thinks he's dead, you know what? And they're like, well, this is why they killed him.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But that's all I see Severo doing is just the weird. He's just kind of doing back things. What has he been doing this whole time?
Yeah, and it's almost like he doesn't understand strategy anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
He-
a little too emotional, if you will.
A little too emotional, and it just seems like he's flailing so much at this point
Right.
that he's doing it, and it comes up later on that he's just, well, yeah, I've been flailing for these reasons, but he's just flailing, and he's just doing stuff to do stuff. He's doing stuff to almost keep himself busy at this point,
Right.
and he really has no long-term plan here.
That does not surprise me with Severo. I feel like he's more of a, well, I'm doing this now.
I agree. I think he's
you
good
ticked
as
me off, so I'm gonna find you and kill you.
He's a good as a sidekick and sending in as your Navy SEAL. He's not the guy you want leading your forces. You know,
No, he's Murdoch.
Yeah.
Murdoch doesn't lead the A-team.
What a great reference. That is exactly. Oh, beautiful. So we're on to chapter 11, My People. Darrow sits with Ragnar and he muses over this. He's now a leader and a savior, right? And Darrow gains renewed vigor from his thoughts on his people, and they follow him because they see the real him. All of this kind of stuff. It's a nice interlude. I think it's needed. It slows things down, but you need that in this book.
Well, and it does. He's not 100% right away.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
all this stuff is taking on while he's recuperating.
Right.
While he's working on both getting his altogether getting his body, mind and soul back.
Right.
Which I like the fact that it wasn't just automatically like, oh well, I had a Shakeology and now I'm good.
That's for you, Danny. But you know, I totally agree with you guys. And I like that Brown lingers kind of on this. He has all these musings on how incredibly difficult this is going to be, and I love that this author knows that what he is positioning his character to do is in a lot of ways impossible. You know, but it doesn't matter. I mean, this is a story, this is science fiction, you go with it anyway, and he gives just enough justifications that it makes it work. We're going along with this story, knowing that this is a really impossible task.
And one of the things that has happened here, or that we found out here too while we're going through this whole recuperation montage here, and it's really a mind and soul recuperation that he's trying to get through here. Dancer's alive.
Yeah. I like
Does
this.
anyone stay dead in here? Oh wait, Lauren does.
Oh no.
Spoilers.
That was last book.
Pax Telemachus.
He has been immortalized in ship form.
No, that's already been there.
We've been there.
Oh yes.
We've been there.
No.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
we're not there yet.
No, in Golden
Yes, we
Sun.
are.
In Golden Sun, that's when he named it.
Oh,
When he got
I'm
it,
talking about this book.
Oh, okay. True.
Oh, and look what happens.
But Dancer's there. Dancer's Dancer. Our
Dancer. That is perfect.
he's another one. He's another one that comes across as just like he's the limping golden sage, and it's almost like for me it's almost Dennis Hopper-ish at this point for Dancer.
I like that reference. Yeah.
Nope. Still cloud in my mind.
But on to chapter 12, the Julie.
Victra.
Darrow goes to talk to Victra and try to convince her to join the Sons of Ares. She's strapped to a bed. I like this scene.
And that was good. Yeah, the end of
Phrasing?
I love it.
No, but
that was the end of.
Again, you can't. We're not giving automatic trust to everybody at this point.
No. That was the end of chapter 11 too. Was that he has 3 things that he wants.
Yeah, because he's kind of coming back around, and all of a sudden everybody's like, all right, he's getting his head back on his shoulders. Yeah, but there's 3 things that I want, and you're not going to like the third one.
Yes. Yeah. Tell Mustang I'm alive, get Mickey to get me back into shape, and you're not going to like the third thing. It must be Victra. Just because chapter 11 ends, we go into chapter 12, and it's named the July. Yeah. So it's got to be Victra.
Right.
And, okay, just to go on what we always go through on this, I pronounce it Julie.
I said Julie too.
Okay,
I said Julie.
Yeah, the Julie.
That's just me. I'm weird.
From Julian. But but she is.
With the month.
Yeah.
July. Sorry, guys.
It's all about her independence. No, I don't know. I love this conversation that Darrow and Victra have, and I'm really feeling for Victra here like I never have. She talks about how
verbatim. I love how these two are written. Is what I wrote down.
Really?
I'm right there with you, man.
I love this. And how about how he says he never trusts her, and she says that she wouldn't have cared that he was a red.
Yeah.
You know, and he unstraps her and she joins him. This is going to start what will be a long process for me in this book of becoming a huge Victra fan.
Yes, and there's these quotes in here that she
throws
out.
Okay, yeah, always team Victra.
She throws out as the opposite of Antonia.
Yeah,
because they're sisters.
Yes,
but they half sisters.
But they but they both claim to be their father's daughter.
Yeah.
And so there's the exchange, or is it fathers or mothers? Mothers, because it's the same mother, different father.
Same mother, different father. That's right.
Yeah, they both claim to be their mother's daughter, but they're so vastly different. But they can be both so cold at times.
Right.
And with Victra here, I do, like you said, I become a huge fan of her here as the tough, independent woman.
Yep.
She's just a Julie from the block.
Oh, that's golden. Hit
him with the
throw the book at him. God.
But you know what? When I'm gonna throw it out there all the way to the end. We kind of have Victra and we've got Mustang, and up until this, I have been rooting for the Mustang Darrow thing. I'm gonna probably make tons of fans of this series mad with this statement, but by trajectory thrown out by the end of this book, I am Team Victra. Screw Mustang.
Oh, really? I mean, when I say I'm a fan of Victra, I don't mean in the romantic sense with Darrow. I just
and it will never be romantic sense with Darrow. But like, he probably should have gone. He probably should have gone for her.
And he does say that, like, in another life.
Yep. And I'm for that.
But see, in another life, can she?
No.
And see, that's the thing is, I really read. Yes, Victra. The way Victra was raised, the way her character is fleshed out here by Pierce, she won't allow herself to have those emotions. She may have at one time, but I don't need you. Mm-hmm. I don't need anybody.
Victra in book 3.
Yeah,
Victra. I don't know that she's going to stay that way.
I don't need anybody.
Iron Gold comes out.
I am a strong
5 days.
If you've read more than
this book. I will do. I don't know. We had this whole flirting thing at the beginning, and that was like I said in the last book.
Yeah.
Is she really flirting with him and acting that way because she wants him, or is she doing it because this is the challenge?
Yep. You know what?
And I see here going into this portion too, where she tells him, I wouldn't have cared if you were a red. I wouldn't care about anything.
Yeah.
If you were, nobody's honest with me in my entire damn life, and you were, and I thought you were honest with me.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be, and again, no spoilers here, but I do feel that through the rest of this book, it's amazing to me how close Victra will be painted always with Darrow, and she's kind of always there. She's always got his back, it seems, through the rest of this book, and how alien from Darrow Mustang is through a lot of the rest of this book until the end when they try to sandwich them together at the end, and it doesn't work for me. I'm just throwing it out there.
I'm already on opposite sides of you.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what you think. By
I
the
can
end of the
understand
book.
where Bob is coming from here on it, and I think he's.
So we roll into part 2 here.
Yeah.
Well, we come up on the end of part 1 into the beginning of part 2, Rage. So enter part 2 of Morningstar, Rage. And you know what we could really use right now? A montage.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on, one more rep. You got it. You got one more rep. You got it. Okay, anyway, chapter 13, The Howlers.
Chapter 13 is just bench pressing.
Yeah. Victra and Darrow working out,
bench pressing, and I love the fact that all the low colors keep wandering by, like they're placing bets on what the golds are able to bench press.
Yeah.
And then Ragnar comes up and blows them both out of the water.
Yeah.
I would
love
expect
this.
nothing less.
Ragnar comes up and like clean jerks like a ton.
A literal ton. You know what? Victra and Darrow have been carved back to normal at this point, and they're regaining their strength. And you know what? Thank you for skipping that. I don't need more carving scenes. I don't need any of that.
No.
Let's jump back into just some straight up jock.
I love this
bench pressing.
With the whole jock idea, though, it's interesting because bringing that up, they're still on the B team. They have not made to the varsity yet. They are on the B team of the Pit Vipers.
Yeah, I love they're called the Pit Vipers. Yeah, ragtag bunch, but I love these guys. This is really great.
Darrow, Victra, and Holly, B team, they've gone on some low priority missions to get back into the swing of things.
But then...
And I had forgotten here that Holly is... When I got to this part, I'd forgotten that Holly is technically a gray.
Yes.
Yeah.
That she's technically a gray, but she's working out with the golds.
Right.
She's a very accomplished gray.
Okay. So the 13th, what do you expect?
A dragoon.
Which we find out now that Holly, or we're reminded here that Holly was a member of the 13th Regiment.
Yeah, right.
And so she was a member of that elite gray regiment, but now she's defected, of course, to the good guys.
Right. But then, going along with this preppy, we're working out montage thing, then all of a sudden they're in the showers, and they're attacked by Ragnar, Severo, and the Howlers, and they go through this, weird hazing.
I
so went Starship Troopers here.
Yeah, I want to get everybody's feelings on this, because so they're beat up, they're hogtied, they're forced to drink and eat cockroaches and pit vipers.
The beat up thing, I'm like, oh man, they... Of course, the Jackal found them. Of course he did. He had them tracked.
Of course he's got spies in the city of Ares.
He has something, and then, it comes around to the hazing process, which I'm okay with.
Which does
It's totally Severo.
For mine, I picture this going back to when they were back at the Institute of Severo of, all right, Howlers, this is what you got to do to be part of me. I can picture him out in the woods doing this weird stuff. Probably even worse stuff back then.
Right.
And now he's still carrying it on, and for him it's this sacred moment because the Howlers are his.
Okay, so you think he sees it as a sacred moment. Okay.
Because Severo's just weird. Let's go over that again.
You might make this better for me because I won't lie, I hated this part. I actually really hated this because I'm like, okay, you have just brought him back from the brink and we are in this epic struggle to free his people and all of a sudden I'm in a teen movie where somebody's getting hazed in a shower. And I'm like, this is so petty and ridiculous and little.
It's totally Severo.
I went human. I went human. This is so human because with all of this other stuff that's going on, with all of these, big, huge moon battles and all this other stuff, all these other things going on, this is, okay, we have to go through the kitschy human rite of passage.
Yeah.
If you're really going to be back and you're really going to be with us, this is what we do. And because he never had to do this. He was just after we got out of the Institute, he was just the leader.
I just see
he was just the big man on campus, and I like the humanity of this. And I've said humanity about nine times during this podcast.
Yeah, and see,
I like how Pierce really brings back the humanity in this book.
Right. And see, and I just got disconnected from it because I saw it as all the things I hate, kind of that really preppy college kind of, and I hated that. It immediately almost separated me as a person from all of this.
You went preppy college. I went old school where they're holding the cinder blocks with the rope tied to them and blindfolded, throw it over the wall, and nothing's really dangerous.
But see, Klob, then I wish you would have been there speaking into people's ears as they were writing this, because I agree. If this would have been some sort of military kind of like, we're going to make spiritual, like you said, Neil, we're like, okay, we're going to take you outside somewhere, you're going to do this stuff, like as a rite of passage to go back into combat, and we're going to white blood on your face and stuff or whatever. This was in a shower, and they're just almost like, I was waiting for the rape to happen.
Whoa.
Okay, sorry, that was too far.
Why are they getting him drunk?
Yeah, they were getting him drunk, and they're doing all this stuff. To me, this didn't feel like a spiritual rite of passage human moment.
I will give you that it went on too long.
Yeah, okay.
And it was that, I don't know, you got that one weird kid in class.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden he's the cool kid and like, you know what, I'm gonna make you eat bugs.
Yeah.
Like,
but see, even what
Severo's just a weirdo.
But even what you're saying, Luke, everybody's been referring to them as I'm seeing it as this weird kid and whatever. Again, we're going back to adolescence when we're referring to these. At this point, these guys have been in the middle of this immense. I don't want to call it intergalactic, but war that they're fighting. Interplanetary conflict. This feels like we're taking a back step to something that should have happened in book 1, but shouldn't be happening anymore.
But did any of these characters, anybody in this society of the higher colors, whether you're talking gray, gold, none of them actually had an adolescence.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
that is robbed from them.
Yeah,
very good point. Very good.
That is good. That's good. You guys are helping me like this scene better.
You're welcome.
I know, but I agree. It went on way too long.
Yeah.
I zero problems with it. I felt it fit the character of Severo and the Howlers and who they were.
Right.
But this is
Severo has sacred texts, which I think is really funny that it says that. Yeah. Dancer and Neryl enter at the end, and they say they have found Quicksilver on Phobos.
And I do like the fact that the Dancer comes in here and is just like, what the hell are you doing?
This is sacred. You're not invited.
You're not supposed to be here.
We've been looking everywhere for y'all. They found Quicksilver is the Jackal's quote-unquote silent partner.
And we get some backstory because we've had brief mentions of Quicksilver in the last couple books.
Right.
But we've never even really had the Silvers explained to us.
Not at all. But we're going to get it, and especially here, Chapter 14, The Vampire Moon.
And we find out that Quicksilver runs the banking consortium.
I just want a quick segue here. I think Vampire Moon was a millennial emo band that you could buy at Hot Topic.
How do you know this?
I know, actually, no, that was my band, and we never made it that big.
I thought Vampire Moon was the brand name on the dog collar you could buy at Hot Topic.
Vampire Moon. It's something on Hot Topic.
What is it with Hot Topic all of a sudden?
Because it's called Vampire Moon.
I had no connection to that whatsoever.
It was a character on Sailor Moon. I'm just kidding.
But if there's nothing that... Pierce Brown can really create awesome visuals, like we've said a million times. Phobos is this 12-kilometer moon covered in spiky towers and docking rings. Very cool visual.
And if you're on a moon, and that's what a moon with skyscrapers built into it would look like.
Yeah,
it would
exactly.
look like this weird, big, spiky star.
Right, and what I love about it, again, he constantly drills home kind of the science, if I use that term loosely, of, not really being gravity, so you're not, you can build it all crazy heights.
And there's no, snow globe atmosphere around here. It's just, the only atmosphere is within the towers.
Right, yeah. Which I really like. We're told that Darrow and all the Howlers have suicide teeth that are put into them. I really like this, this is kind of cool.
And now it's their first mission on the A-team.
Yeah, and really this chapter is just a tour of Phobos.
And again, why you don't let Murdoch run the A-team?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Is this? I
think they're wrong.
Kind of what I took it. Like Victra learns that it's her family that runs Phobos.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the July crates everywhere.
And I liked this because, again, it harkened back to the industrialization of the society at this point.
Right.
And, on how her family, maybe she never really realized how her family is made their fortune, essentially, or kept their fortune so much on the backs of the lower colors.
Right.
And we get this new guy let's go through the whole plan here.
Right, yeah. So they meet up with this guy named Rollo, who's a red worker, and he works on these massive towers. Again, I feel Brown is going back to what he did in Red Rising, where I feel like EO and who we're introduced to are supposed to be kind of turn of the century migrant workers, in textile mills. He returns to that whole idea where this is almost like New York. I feel like turn of the century New York.
That's what I felt.
Where we have these big skyscrapers and they're living in the gutters and the company doesn't pay much and there's indentured servants
And
too.
you have to, and the company only pays for you to get there.
Yeah, right.
If you want to go home after your tour is done, you have to earn enough money for passage
the
back
descriptions
home.
here, it's genuinely gross and just terrible.
And I like Rollo. I like Rollo because he's a little smart alecky, and he's not fazed by these golds, the obsidian, and the bunch of grays that just got off that just climbed out of a crate.
Right. I picture a lot of these visuals down on street level to be a lot like the dystopian 80s Blade Runner kind of thing. Shout out to next episode.
Oh, and and there's a Johnny Mnemonic aspect here too. With the homeless with the homeless people who are waiting for the crank.
Yeah,
and are trying to
right.
are constantly trying to get the drugs because they can't work anymore. And the fact that they can't work anymore means they can't go home, and the company doesn't even care that they're there or care that to try to pay to clean them up because they're just the homeless fodder.
Right. But Ragnar cares.
Yep. And I feel they're right
How
here.
could you leave these people here like this?
And
it's their choice.
I feel there's a big turning point for Darrow, at least for me and how I'm reading him. And maybe it was said before, but I didn't catch it. But he is changing yet again, and I feel, again, where every book Pierce is putting his character through that kind of womb of the earth and coming forth as a change. Now that he has been he's built his body back. He's come from the death or the pit once again. Before, his entire rise has been about liberating his people, the Reds, a lot of the time. And here, as he goes through this city, he starts worrying about the bombs and how it will kill all members of society, all the way up through that pyramid. And I feel like now we're seeing Darrow not as the leader of the rebellion that will bring about the Reds uprising, but a leader of men, of all mankind. He's going to come now and he's going to transform society. He finally is taking that on himself.
And starting to take on himself too, understanding the civilian casualty aspect of war.
Yeah. Which I think is really good. I feel like a lot of times in sci-fi, that is something that is overlooked. Sci-fi tends to get really big with, ships and destroying planets. And
I had friends on that Death Star.
Yeah, exactly.
There had to be general contractors in there somewhere.
Yeah, I know the millions of people that die in some of these epic struggles. It's nice to see somebody referencing the humanity of that and the loss of life. If only in words, because millions will die in this book.
Oh my god, yeah. Are we, chapter 15?
The Hunt, yeah.
Yeah, the Suns break into Quicksilver's building. We get a little bit more knowledge.
Cool scenes as they're climbing up the walls with the magnets.
I'm hearing James Bond music.
Yeah, it's Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible.
As they're climbing up.
I heard Mission Impossible.
And and I like the fact that he had referenced before that there's no atmosphere on the moon.
Right.
And and he keeps with that because in order for them to cut the hole in the window to get into the skyscraper, they have to put the force bubble over it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'd cut the hole and everything would be sucked out of the skyscraper.
The entire building would go inside out. Yeah.
I played a lot of Tom Clancy's Red Cell. I'm seeing a lot of this here.
I like how, because there was a question I had back in book 2 was, well, how the heck did Karnas break Darrow's arm in the first place? That's the whole thing, and it was the callback there of, oh, wait, we tried this before. It was Victra, Tactus, Roke, Darrow. We tried this climbing plan. Well, he broke my arm. We barely got out. I'm like, oh, crap. Is this already? They're going to fail? Is Karnas alive? Wait, no. Never mind. Karnas is not alive. Right. There's no way he's going to break his arm again during this plan.
And sneaking in here and popping into, falling into the museum.
Yeah.
Right.
And I like as they're going throughout the museum here, and there's you see them sneaking and you see them doing the Tom Clancy through the museam. I like.
I was playing Splinter Cell right here.
Yeah.
I agree.
Ooh, yeah, that too.
The fact that they make the revelation here of this is really all just gold and silver pop culture things that are in this museum. I don't think this is actually for Quicksilver. I think this is part of like what he's putting out for the golds and for the people that he lends money to and that he makes money off of because that's what he thinks that they should have.
I love that he refers to 21st century art as ostentationism. It's been given a name.
And they keep walking by rooms and like, what is that?
I have them going.
Yeah.
My picture here is they're very, very slow though because he talks about the gravity. And
Okay.
they weigh 800 pounds now.
I wanted to bring this up as kind of an aside, as kind of a weird thing. I love it in this book. I do feel, because we know that this is being talked about as being made into a movie, I am not looking that the movie will at all do what's actually on the page here.
Yeah.
Because when we get to this tower, we find out Quicksilver's from Earth, so the tower has Earth's gravity, and so when he drops through, Darrow says he weighs 800 pounds. Like, I feel like any studio who makes this as a movie will say, we need to have people connect with who our main character is, and they will slim him down, for the most part, to be no bigger than, like, Thor or something. We will be seeing a normal-sized human.
And see, I took it that this was Darrow's perception, so it wasn't actually that he was 800 pounds. It's just that all of a sudden, because it's the higher gravity, he feels like he's 800 pounds.
And yeah, maybe he's not, but I mean, we are told, isn't he well over 7 feet tall?
He's 2.1 meters, which I looked up because I was bored one day. It's like 6'7" or 6'8".
Oh, okay. So he's not huge. So he shouldn't be.
Whereas Ragnar
It's like 7 feet tall.
7 feet tall.
But with the higher gravity, he's obviously going to feel heavier, and it's the movement going through here.
I think you're right.
Because we don't actually.
But I don't feel
because it feels heavy.
Yeah, because
but
we
I don't
actually
see
get to the gravity thing until later.
I think it states I weigh now.
It's an unpleasant sensation, weighing nearly 800 pounds.
Yeah, I believe it's just making a statement of fact.
Plus armor, plus.
But
they
take everything off
But
and are very unarmored going through this.
Yeah, they're just wearing
like their
skin
Tom Clancy
Scarab.
Splinter Cell
we
suits.
do get that little nod though, like the gravity's different here, wink wink.
Yeah. But I'm just throwing it out there. When this comes to screen, I don't think we're going to see hulking 600-pound.
And I will throw out a little. This will take us out of time here,
that's
and this
fine.
will put us. This will definitely put this podcast within
age stamp
within 2018.
Okay.
I automatically went to who is Quicksilver? Quicksilver is the businessman. He is the moneylender. He is the one who is constantly doing things with these other cultures and with these other colors. This is the art of the deal for me. This is Donald Trump making sure that he sits in the higher chair, that his chair is higher than the chairs of the other people he's making a deal with. This is Quicksilver going, the gravity here is heavier. Therefore, that's going to make them uncomfortable, which is going to give me the advantage when I'm negotiating these deals.
I agree.
Even there,
that's good. I like that.
To more of an extension, I wrote down page 121 in my hardcover book. Sorry.
Yeah.
It talks about war. It hit a little close to home with me. War is just a 3-letter word to these golds.
Yeah.
And that they're just able to sit here and ignore what is really happening, and it's just felt like so much like America.
Yeah.
Like where we are right now.
Yeah.
What's really going on in the world. And
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this a bunch. There's a lot in this that just feels very political, very close to home, very...
But at the same time, what I'll say is crazy. This book was written before a lot of the things I think we're referencing.
This whole
happened, which I find Pierce Brown, way to go. Way to make social commentary slightly before the time that it's actually needed.
I will point out that Art of the Deal has been out for 20 years.
Okay, well that idea, because I see where you're going, Claude. You're going with more the I'm going to manipulate my surroundings so that I am on top of the people underneath me. Yeah,
exactly.
Well, Luke is referencing kind of modern politics, which I think is pretty good on this book's part. But I agree. I think that's a good grab, Claude. I like that because I think that's exactly why he does this.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
It puts him, even with the golds, he's the one who's more comfortable here.
Yeah, 'cause
he's the one who's on top. He's the one who has an easier time functioning.
Yep. And even if Brown wasn't trying to do that, he'll now claim that he did. Because that's a really good grab. That's a really good grab.
Yeah. What we go in chapter 16, Paramore?
Yeah, Paramore, which is a weird band, right?
True.
That's a good band.
Okay, no, they are good. I say weird in a loving sense. I do like Paramore. Okay.
I'm gonna come over to it. They get into Quicksilver's room and they find Daryl's old pal Mateo.
Yeah, he's there.
Hey, he's back.
But it's horrible. At first, they beat the crap out of him. And then they find out who he is.
No. I know him. As they've shattered his jaw.
And don't they talk about them stepping on his genitals?
Well, yeah, because he's a pink.
It was so I'm sorry. Oh my god.
He's a pink pleasure bot, and we get the big reveal here later for who Mateo actually is.
Yeah.
But it was just that whole picture here.
You can say aspect.
I was going to say aspect.
You can say it. You haven't said it.
Where I automatically, I thought he was a spy.
I did.
I automatically jumped to Mateo's here because he's spying on Quicksilver, and these guys don't realize who he is
because Severo's got his head up his butt.
Because I'm thinking Quicksilver's a bad guy. I mean, Quicksilver's a bad guy.
Because Quicksilver's a bad guy, and there's been such a disconnect since Fitchner sent him here.
Yeah.
Fitchner as Ares sent him here to spy on Quicksilver.
Right.
When Fitchner died, that was one of those secrets that died with Fitchner, that Mateo is actually embedded over here.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. That's exactly what I thought too. And I'm like, because I'm still under the impression Quicksilver is our big bad of the beginning of this book.
Going to that, I feel like there's a time where it was almost set up where some people might think, well, maybe he's a double agent, actually is working for Quicksilver. But I actually never thought that. In this, because of the character.
Just thinking back to his characterization in Red Rising and who he was training Darrow, and how we talked about when we talked about Red Rising, of him trying to train Darrow in the politics and how to act as a gold and how to how to establish his persona, and rapping him on the knuckles when he grabs the wrong fork as a pink wrapping a gold on the knuckles when he grabs the wrong
He's got a lot of moxie.
Yeah, and it made it so I never questioned him.
Yeah.
Whereas other characters, when they talk about different things, it's like, no, are you
and I'm
really
like
him? Oh, no, he's fine. He's a spy.
And
good side.
I'll reference it again because I just reread Lord of the Flies. And so I did all of a sudden have this whole aspect of...
We should have brought up your devolving.
Oh my God. They're going to accidentally kill one of the characters here.
Yeah.
They're going to accidentally kill one of the guys who's actually on their side.
Yep, right. Yeah,
because they don't have a plan.
No, they don't.
They have a plan. They're going to go get Quicksilver, and that's their plan. Between A and B, there might be A1, A2, A3, A4, but it doesn't matter.
Severo going nuts.
But because the Sons of Ares have devolved into this barbarian aspect of reacting rather than acting. It's going to be a reaction that he's a pink, we'll just kill him.
Yeah, right. So
they make their way to room
C19. Yeah. I looked up to see if there was any reference to this, because now I've been primed from the rest of the book. Okay, C-19, is this anything? I could find nothing. It is the name of the torrent fighter from the Clone Wars era in Star Wars, but I don't think I don't know that the room would be named after a Star Wars
stretch.
We're throwing that one out.
They kill the guards, they bust in, they find Quicksilver, Cassius, 2 Telemani.
No, but wait. Quicksilver stands bald before a window with a glass of wine in his hand
in a robe.
I'm thinking, James, I'm like, where's the cat? He should be stroking a cat.
Well, they just punched the cat.
But what a great picture and a great description that all of a sudden, because I'd forgotten that Quicksilver was a silver. I'd forgotten that silver was a thing.
Was a color. Yep. I agree. Yeah.
Until all of a sudden they described the silver that's presiding over this meeting of gold. That's how much power this dude has.
I mean, he is
standing at the window in his smoking jacket.
He's a silver that's about in his 60s, and he has 3 eyes? ?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This was weird.
Because
never brought up ever
Never
again.
brought up again, because I'm like, okay, wait, what? Yeah,
But
I was the
it's
same
like
thing.
not really 3 eyes. It's like a bionic thing in his ring or something. I don't know.
I didn't get it. I did it, and I actually just moved past it and didn't think about it.
I did.
And it's never.
Take the
it's,
ring off. The eye is off. Put it on.
it's never brought
I
up
thought it was
again.
connected.
But it's
into
like-
it.
But what
it's-
is it? What for? What?
I don't know. It's like why is
So
it?
we can
I just-
read
it's-
documents really close.
You know,
It's just
and
that
I'm-
it's just
well,
that
no,
it's
and
brought up.
I'm holding my hand over you as you're sitting next to me as we're discussing this at the table,
Oh,
and so
and
maybe I
I
can see your
point-
notes.
I wish people could see what's happening right
Yes.
now. We're all acting out what a ring eyeball would be like and how we would read other people's notes surreptitiously.
Hang on, let me adjust the contact.
At any rate, we barrel into chapter 17, killing the golds.
And this was a complete surprise for me, them barreling into this meeting.
Yeah.
I knew something was up because
Because a big reveal at the end of that chapter, Cassius is there, Aya's sister Moira, and Mustang.
well,
are
and
there.
they do make the comment right before they bust into the conference room here.
Yep.
They do. Pierce does do the whole. It's quiet. Too quiet.
I mean, we just killed the whole squad of Grey Guards, but something's quiet here.
Why is there only one?
Yep, right.
Why is there only one?
Yeah. But I love this. All hell breaks loose. There's this weird reference to something that I don't really know. Is it here? Wait, nope. I'm sorry. Next chapter. I'll save it.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, this is the. This is a Matrix fight.
Oh, I love it for sure.
This is a Matrix fight. The pillars are blowing up. Things are going through the pillars. People are flipping over pillars, hiding behind other people.
Yeah,
Of course, the telemosses have to scream their names as they stand up.
Oh, I love
Severo was jamming Darrow's comms during this whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm in charge.
Yeah.
Again.
Come on, Severo.
And this is my beginning here.
Yeah.
Well, actually, my beginning was the whole peanut bar thing. This is my beginning of Pierce. I don't like what you're doing with Severo here.
Okay.
I understand the whole conflict of I've been in charge for so long because you left me. And so when Darrow starts trying to give orders, no. I run this group. I brought you into this group. I don't care who you were before.
Right.
I'm the one in charge now. I'm the one in charge. And it seems so very petty even for Severo to be.
Because Severo worships, or did worship Darrow, it
He
seems.
put his eyes in it.
Yeah, I
But
know.
he's a different man here.
Yeah.
True. Just going back slightly, I do want to just quickly read this. I love that we get a description of the pulse fist really well, like what it does to a human. And I love this description.
Moira, yeah.
It says, I fire till her shield buckles inward, till she falls to a knee, till she twitches and screams as the molecules of her skin and organs superheat. Boiling blood comes out of her eyes and nose. Armor and flesh feel together as I feel the rage ride wild inside of me, numbing me to fear, to sense, to compassion. I love it.
And
I love this.
Oh,
stuff.
and it's great. And this completely changes the idea of the pulse fist for me.
Yeah.
Because I kept thinking that the pulse fist was like
A wave that knocked you
It was like
over.
the shocker fist from Spider-Man.
Yeah, I agree.
Or it was like Crossbones. It was like Crossbones electric fists.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
in Marvel. And
Yep.
now, that stuff fires.
Yeah, and it's
It
does stuff
actually
to
a-
you on a molecular
it's
level.
actually
I'm going
gun.
to correct you guys. That's not the pulse fist. That's her shield.
What?
He uses the pulse fist to overload her shield, and as soon as the shield overloads, it clamps in on her and cooks her to death.
Oh, okay.
But does he do it? But is it from a distance rather than
No,
me
he's
being
right up. I think he's right up close.
Okay,
so
see, I didn't read it like that.
Okay,
I didn't-
okay.
Holds the trigger down until the shield overloads and collapses in.
Oh, cool.
See,
Good
see,
catch.
see,
Okay.
I read that
I
as
thought
being
it was
from
a
a
fist
distance.
doing
I
that.
So
read
it
it
is
as
more like
it was
that.
the distance,
I
but
did
then the
too.
shield
Okay.
stopped.
Okay.
And then
Interesting.
it was past the shield and the pulse.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know.
This is all the more reason why we need to talk to the author, Pierce Brown, if you're listening. We'll interview you.
We can talk. Please, by all means,
Wait,
let's talk about the in-depth weapons construction.
Yeah, we just want weapons construction.
Yeah, that's
from
it.
you.
This is all.
And
this is-
space travel.
And actually, this is all probably on the Red Rising wiki.
Probably.
Darrow kills Moira. Ragnar takes the Death Knight down just by chucking a razor at him.
Yeah.
From across the room.
Yeah, my God, Ragnar.
And Ragnar
Regs.
does this.
Regs.
And Ragnar does this, and he's the only one we ever see using the razor as a projectile weapon.
Yeah.
And it shows that barbarianism, it shows that brutality
Yeah.
of, well, granted, he's got two, but it just
He's
shows
got an
that
extra
brutality
to
of
chuck.
I'm going to throw this at you. And this is the old school, this is the old school spinning axe. This is the tomahawk. But no, everybody else, all the golds are so enamored with their own razors.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to look at that I'm never going to let this thing go. Whereas Ragnar, no, this is a weapon. I'm going to use this as a weapon.
I'm out of the box with this,
and just kills the Death Knight.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then we get this part where Mustang is almost going to kill Darrow, but his face is revealed. She stops, and Darrow whips his razor around Shavax's neck.
And she reveals his face by headbutting his helmet to shreds.
Yeah, I love it.
Because he goes to headbutt her, she kind of half dodges, takes a little bit of a blow, and then starts headbutting him till his helmet collapses around his head.
You're wearing a plastic helmet. I got you.
Right. Boom, boom, boom. Yep. Okay, so I'm gonna let you guys talk about. Mustang finds out that she thinks Darrow's dead. It's been revealed he's alive.
Well, everybody thinks Darrow's dead because they had the body double that they executed on live TV.
Right.
Yeah.
But Mustang now knows he's alive, leaves.
I
don't know. Defend this.
I will.
But she drops.
Do it.
She drops the bomb here.
Well, the Howlers are just going crazy.
Yeah.
Killing everything because Darrow can't talk to him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All of a sudden at one point in the battle, you see Darrow's there, but the battle is still raging. I'm not gonna hang out, try and say, I'm sorry, I love you. I'm gonna save my own ass.
Well, and you have how many people in a large conference room, and there's rubble and there's dust, and Darrow's comms have been jammed.
Somebody's cooking to a crisp over there.
Yeah. True. He can't say anything because Severo still has him jammed. He can't say, no, don't hurt her.
Right. Yeah. Well, but she leaves. She doesn't stay around and try to fight or defend her people.
But she tells him the PAX thing I was talking about earlier before she leaves. Orion is still running the PAX, waiting for you as she's running out the door.
Right. So she does drop him I'm kind of on your side type of thing.
She's letting him know what what she protected during that time of where he thought he left.
All right, so we're into 18.
They captured the Vax. It's a massacre in this room, and we're in chapter 18, the Abyss. Or if you wrote it like I did, the Abbeys, because I don't know how to spell.
The Abbeys.
2B1S.
Downton Abbey.
Those are two entirely different movies.
I know.
The Abbey and the Abyss are two entirely different movies.
Downton Abbey.
Interestingly enough, Ed Harris is in both of them.
Little trivia there for you.
Good on him.
All right, so in the aftermath, Darrow and Severo argue about what just happened.
And Darrow takes control back.
Yeah, which I like. We need this.
And we have this standoff where Darrow gives orders, Severo gives orders, and the rest of the Howlers are going, crap.
I felt for Severo here.
He's being too petty for me here.
Yeah.
He's being way too petty for me here, and so I didn't feel for him until later.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a guy who's got the right intentions, but he's a man who's out of his depth. This is not what he should be doing.
Yes, exactly.
And he doesn't want to give it up. And maybe almost in a way, he loves Darrow and wanted to be like, Darrow, come with me on this mission. Look at what I can do. Look at what I can do. And now you're like Dad coming in, going, you know what? You're kind of screwing this up, kid. I'm taking this away from you.
It'll be like old times, us fighting next to each other, shoulder to shoulder again.
Yeah.
No, dude, relax. Stop.
And maybe he almost
killing everybody.
And maybe he almost realizes that Darrow knows, hey, you're going too far, buddy. And he's like, I failed you. Maybe there's parts of that going on. I don't know.
Which we'll get to.
Right.
There's one moment here, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I want to bring it up because I remembered it. There's the spot where it talks about how Quicksilver's bodyguards were coming, and that their pillar blocked it, so they couldn't get overrun by Obsidians. I don't really feel like Obsidians are too scary.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't...
And yet, we're terrified of Ragnar. He's always this amazing person.
Huge.
And here they're like, we got saved by this pillar falling over and blocking these Obsidians.
Yeah.
They really haven't had any problems with an Obsidian at all.
Yeah. But yet we have one that we think is the game ender on our side.
And yet every time Obsidian comes up, there's 3 Obsidians. We killed them.
Again, I read...
Yeah, you are right. It's like, oh my god, it's 3 Obsidians. Well, they're not the big deal.
Oh, and they're dead.
Yeah, but yet Ragnar seems to be the guy who cleans house.
No, you're right. At this point, we've just gone through this major battle. Mm-hmm. Everybody's gear is jacked.
Well, right. And I'm not saying this specific battle. I'm saying, overall. It probably would be. But overall,
You are right.
Nothing has really happened that's made me fear an obsidian.
Yeah.
Other than
Anymore.
Ragnar. No,
Yeah.
because it's always...
They were
there's so many obsidians.
they were really scary earlier on in other books,
One is-
and now not so much.
Yeah,
You're right.
and-
Maybe we've I
And
get
yet,
it.
always, when it comes to later, the obsidians on this side, they're the best thing in the world. None of them ever die.
Yeah, right.
Sorry.
Okay, so
Sorry,
what is
it was something that just bothered me.
What happens here at the end? All of a sudden, there's it says the gravity massively increases, so they're all slammed to the floor.
That's security measure.
Which I love.
Yeah,
but then
so
this,
cool.
I love this black egg rolls in and a cannon shoots out of the top.
It's a droid.
Yeah.
It's
the
droid
battle-
because
it's the battle droid.
It's
battle
either a droid or it's either a droid or a Mauser from Ninja Turtles.
I'm gonna go with Mauser. I am gonna go with Mauser. I hate you for being the first one to pull off a Ninja Turtles reference. Damn you! Oh.
The battle droid rolls in. I love.
And everybody's slammed to the floor, but I love the fact that Ragnar is just on his knees.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Like,
I love
even
it.
for him, he's just struggling to lift his arm up to shoot the glass out.
Which he does with his pulse flip.
He does. And there was like
As they're quickly tying each other to each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, hey, second time here where we flip into a chapter which is 3 pages and just should be the end of a chapter.
The only thing I want to bring up in the Abyss is
yes, it is.
it's Severo runs off to do something in the hallway. I think he was like getting the guards, or he wanted to get Mateo or something. And it's like,
Because Mateo's still in a bag in the hallway.
it's like it's like he's
Hey, grab that guy. We stepped on their nuts.
It's like
grab him.
as he's running back, that's when the gravity hits, and like Severo's the smallest. He's the first one to go. And he's like poof, hits the floor, and they're like they all feel it. Severo hits the ground. They're like, "What's going on?"
but
Oh my god!
Severo's moving. He's got the bag and he just face plants.
Yeah.
I love it.
And then the egg rolls in. I'm like, "Oh my god, this is a bomb. They're all gonna die."
I thought it was a
Like,
bomb.
oh
I thought it was a
my
bomb.
God,
But
this-
no, it's
so
a
cool.
Mauser. I'm going with that.
Yes.
They
And then Ragnar's the only one who can lift his arm to shoot
Pulse
out the
fist.
window. And as we talked about, there's no atmosphere outside
No,
that
no,
window.
which
I was waiting for him to do that and the gravity to be too strong and for them to like suffocate while they're stuck to the floor.
But you know, Luke,
That'd have been a weird
I
twist.
think that's kind of what would have happened. I mean,
Perhaps.
we're in fantasy
I-
world,
I
so
don't-
anything can happen. But I feel like
I don't know. I've never experienced more than Earth's gravity. I've never been.
a depressurization of a cabin though, or a room to 0G should. I mean, now I'm talking out of my butt. But it shouldn't pull you enough to pull
It
you
probably
off.
would pull them across a marble floor, but they probably would have suffocated before it did it.
Yeah, that's
my feeling.
I agree. Unless by doing that, it automatically shuts off this gravity. I mean, you can make some sort of argument
why aren't there safety measures that seal the window before they get? I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. It doesn't.
Chapter 19 pressure.
But pressure again. Three pages of like this should have been the end of the chapter.
I thought it was awesome though.
But it's very cool.
As we're hardcore trying to clip each other to each other.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh god,
Grab my carabiner.
Oh god, grab my carabiner. Click, click. Oh, nobody can get Severo. Let's just bear hug him.
Okay, I love that they describe all these effects of space on the body. Although this
Yeah.
is a weird part. Darrow says that his fingers are like plantains.
Yeah.
I know, but it's just a weird description of using plantains as a, you know what I'm just saying? If it
Short,
was
stubby.
odd. Yeah, it's kind of funny. But in the end, they're rescued by the ship.
Well, they fall out of the building.
Yeah, right.
They fall out of the building, and
they all start
they have
expanding.
the blue collar drivers who can actually drive a ship. Aren't gonna fight, but I can drive a ship, and I can catch you out of the air in the
Right.
back end of the ship
Right. Exactly.
before you suffocate.
So on to chapter 20, Descent.
They're back at a safe house. Severo's back in command. He's pissed.
Yep.
And they get mad at each other.
They do. Darrow talks to Kavax, even though he's not supposed to. Severo gives him orders. He's like, nah, dog.
Yeah.
But Kavax does reassure him that Mustang believes in the cause.
But he's a Mustang. Not only is on his side, but she reached out to Severo months ago,
And Severo
yeah,
ignored
that's
her.
Big reveal. Yeah, it is.
which kind of ends up being nothing.
And this
But
hallway,
anyway.
this is the hallway scene.
Eventually, yeah.
Yes.
We're not.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But
because
we
it's after the reveal moment.
Yeah,
Oh,
we have
yeah.
we have this Law and Order moment of the dunk of in the interrogation room with the light shining in Quicksilver's eyes as he's tied to the chair and perfectly calm.
Yeah. Yep.
Laughing,
Perfectly
he's okay
calm.
with stuff.
Yeah, I feel he's confident that he can talk his way out of this. He knows that he, we're on the same side.
Mm-hmm. And they start, and they don't come out of the light at first, and they start trying to interrogate him, and using interrogation mode.
Yeah, but we learned that Quicksilver has proposed a peace. That's why Mustang is there, because I think we're led to believe that Mustang is in some way betraying Darrow, and we find out that's not true. That they couldn't fight this Outer Rim and Mars at the same time, so they're trying to balance this whole thing out. And like you said, contacted several months ago,
and that's really realistic.
That's very realistic.
For you don't fight a battle on two fronts.
Yeah. So Mustang feels like she's far more realistic or real world, or she's willing to negotiate. She's willing to make a deal. I'll let Gold Society kind of continue in some aspects as long as I can maintain, what's going on here. So
just at the end of that, Severo starts talking to Quicksilver in the torture chamber, and I totally forgot about Severo's last name.
Yeah,
what he calls him Mr. Barca. I'm like, who?
Yeah,
I'm like, is Quicksilver just delirious? What is
just
going on?
Spouting out names.
No, that is Severo's
is this
last
an
name.
insult in this society?
Into chapter 21.
Well, but wait, there's a big bomb drop.
Sorry.
That Quicksilver is a founding member of the Sons of Ares.
Quicksilver states he is the original Son of Ares.
Which I love this because it adds an entire new layer. There are Golds who want to bring down society as well. Golds and silvers.
And silvers.
Yeah.
No, I'm not denying that we knew that there was Golds because Fitchner was a Gold in the first place.
Yeah, right.
True.
But more than just
the information that he brings up to prove his point. Who do you think paid for your mother's operation?
Yeah, right. Good point. Yeah, it's really good. I love this.
But Severo is so blinded though that he can't believe this.
I was so blinded. I completely thought this was a scam.
I agree.
He's the information guy. He's the money guy. Of course, he's going to know this blackmail information on Fitchner.
Yeah. But then later on, well, prove it this way, and he answers every question just fine.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah. Why was Mateo in your bed? Well, he's my husband, so...
Oh, that would be why.
Exactly, that'd be why.
I love that,
And I went there, I had this horrible... this is a portion where I went, oh, jeez. I'm like, you basically ripped the guy's jaw out of his head.
Yeah.
And
stop.
He was in his own bedroom.
Yeah, exactly.
He was in his own house, in his own bedroom, and you broke in and beat him up like he shouldn't be there.
It's pretty horrible. We're on to chapter 21, Quicksilver.
We're already there.
Oh, were we there?
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, we're there.
We've been talking about it.
So Severo pulls the detonator from his pocket. He tells Darrow that it's his fault that all of their friends died, and he's not going to flinch. Darrow, you flinched, and that's why our friends died. I'm not going to flinch. I'm going to blow this moon out of orbit.
Yeah. And convenient jam field is convenient.
Yes.
As Darrow,
but it is a short-range jam field, and he has to chase him down. Into chapter 22, the weight of Ares.
The weight of Ares.
And this
jam field. It goes up, he's like, no, and he bucks it. No!
I have been so upset, and I've said this, I have been so upset with where Pierce has taken Severo here.
Okay.
This brings me back around. This hallway friend fight where they're beating each other up.
I love how you say how upset you were. I never got too much of I'm super upset.
I was so...
There's been a back and forth.
Yeah, he's been fuming over there.
Yeah, no, I have been fuming because, this isn't... Yeah, Severo is weird and scary, but he's never been reckless.
Yeah, right, yeah. But
it's the stress for him.
Yeah.
And he's never been
and like you said, he's in a position that's way over his head.
Way over his head, yeah.
This hallway fight and the things said between them and... Basically, you left us. Yeah. You left us, and what was I supposed to do? I did the best I can, so please stop. So stop ragging on me because I did the best I can because you were supposed to be this big thing, but you turned out not to be this big thing, and you left us. So what the hell am I supposed to do?
Right.
Yeah.
Just heartbreaking as they're exchanging punches with each other. The detonator's rolling down the hallway. All of a sudden, the detonator's out of the jam field, but now they're moving the jam field as he's going down the hallway.
And
it's the two guys. It's the
character building scene.
It is.
I really like it.
It's great character building. Because when you think back to, well, how has Darrow normally handled problems with his friends? Well, he hasn't. He's pushed them away. He hasn't talked about them.
And now
but however, if you look back to Roke specifically here, he probably couldn't have a knockout, drag-down fight with Roke to get their thing settled. They would have had to talk, but here, because of the character, it's fine that he can have this knockdown. I'm just sitting there thinking, God dang it, why didn't you just talk to Roke at one point?
And we get to this end.
Because he can't.
How dare you, bro?
We get to this end of the fight where they've both revealed stuff.
How dare you, bro?
Darrow's yelled at him, I am not the Messiah and I am not perfect and I'm sorry I'm not perfect. Well, you should have been perfect and I never expected you to be perfect, but I expected you to be here. And, and they're both leaning against the wall, breathing hard. And there's that moment where they're both looking at each other like, I hate you. I hate you too. But hate isn't the word they're saying.
I love you. They're saying I love you. Yeah, no, I agree. Whoa, way to pick up on that.
So they kind of make amends here.
Break the detonator.
Which I so needed for this relationship.
Yeah.
This is good.
I kind of agree.
We're coming up on halfway through this book here, and there's been trouble we've been working through. There's character flaws that they've been working through, and now, okay, fine, you're in charge now, Darrow.
So we're back to where we need to be. He's been healed. He's back in charge.
And then we go into chapter 23.
The tide.
They're like, okay, let's call the Jackal. I'm like, wait a minute, what are you doing?
Yeah. Well,
wait, Several, you're back in charge.
right.
But of course, it's Darrow. He has a plan.
Well, we got to pull out our suicide molars first to make sure that happens. Yeah, Darrow prepares to be attacked. He jacks the holonet, broadcasts his own message. Let me talk about this message. They gave these screens to us as chains today. We make them hammers and all this stuff. Darrow's speech, he quotes, when I first read it, the thing that jumped out at me was a statement that says, throw yourselves upon the machinery. He's making this really impassioned speech. I'm like, we go with it, an impassioned Darrow speech again. And then throw yourselves upon the machinery, jumped out at me. I'm like, I've heard that. Where have I heard that? Yep. Mario Savio said it back in the early 60s. He was an early 60s counterculture activist at UC Berkeley.
I was going to say, that's a Berkeley speech.
Yeah, he joined Freedom Summer Project. He was speaking on the steps of Sproul Hall, and on December 2nd, 1964, he made that incredibly famous speech. Brown doesn't rip off the entire speech, just that whole kind of the idea of it and to throw yourselves upon the machine.
Well, and again, I don't necessarily, when we're looking at how he's been using culture here.
Yeah.
And how he's been using past Earth culture. It's not a rip-off to me anymore.
Oh, no.
It's a reference.
It's a reference that this would have been something he would have, this would have read, so would he have? But maybe under Mateo, he would have seen this.
Or this would have been something in a gold class about, this is what one of the slaves said at one time, so this is how we
I was going to say, this wouldn't be brought up as like a,
No, not a positive. It would have
positive.
It
would have been negative thing.
Yeah. You're talking about a speech where he's in front of the Hollows.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is, him flying up to there, this is another moment that speaks to me of modern society, people in cages watching TV to escape.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely,
This is huge.
The
guy, the homeless guy. I just have pictures of the homeless guys, but there's the vid screens everywhere.
Right.
So even the homeless guys that are taking the future meth,
and
the future meth,
just tuning out to TV,
are still looking at these broadcast screens from the government and going, "Oh yeah, man."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put on my 75-year-old fake leg, and we're gonna get this done.
Yeah. Just snorting meth and watching 72 hours of Critical Role.
No, it's snorting meth. It's snorting meth. It's snorting meth and watching Nazi propaganda. Settle down there, Hunter S.
So he makes this huge, awesome speech that goes on for pages, and I don't care because it's so good.
Yeah.
The rebellion rages after, into chapter 24.
As it should, because it's a great 60s counterculture. It's one of the greatest speeches of all time.
Yeah, into chapter 24. Hick stunt Lannis.
And they're ruined.
Yeah. Chapter 24.
Hick sunt Lannis.
Yeah.
The rebellion rages on Phobos as Darrow heads to a secret hangar to flee the moon.
Yeah.
Darrow, what are you doing?
Get on his private yacht. Get off.
That's shaped like a silver sparrow. Are the wings out? Or
I couldn't picture it, but it's okay.
I felt like they were back.
Yeah,
I do too. So it looks faster.
Aerodynamic.
He's just kind of...
Do you know what Hic sunt Leos means?
Yeah.
Something about a lion.
Here be dragons.
What? No.
Yep. It's a British lit reference.
Oh.
It's here be we're gonna go through the firestorm, boys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here be
Well, there we
dragons,
go.
imagine
There we go.
dragons, and the thunder.
Hey, but while they're sitting,
No, it's a war reference.
No,
of
I know.
We're gonna run the firestorm. We're gonna run the gauntlet.
Right.
And there are enemies on all sides of us.
well, while they're waiting to run the gauntlet and firing up the engine, Mustang shows up and they have this constipated discussion about trust and how Mustang is protecting people. She wants to join, but Darrow doesn't know if she can trust her. And
Do you want to know
You
what?
felt this was a constipated discussion?
yeah.
I had no problem with this discussion.
If anything...
Except for the fact that it took way too long during a flee.
Well, yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, like, Darrow's hanging out there waiting for Rags. Rags shows up. They're about to leave. Mustang's there. Okay, let's talk to Mustang. Like,
I love the fact you refer to him as Rags.
Yeah. No, but okay, this is going back.
That's from the book.
I
It's
know.
like Holly
This
calls him Rags.
is going back to because I made you guys all like make a mental note of how close you thought these guys were. These two were. And you're all like, yep, they're really close. I thought their relationship was really close, blah, blah, blah. This is now the time. She has thought he has been dead, right? This is now the time where they're just sitting around the hangar, waiting for the ships to take off. Again, there's always this constipation.
Can I give you what I feel here?
Yeah.
Okay, she's thought he's dead. She broke his helmet, saw he was alive, told him, I'm on your side, and had to run.
Right.
Because she didn't want to die. And she shows up here and she's like, I thought you were dead. And he's being a paranoid weirdo about it. Like,
well, yeah.
Well, wouldn't you be paranoid if someone
Yeah,
found your
just-
secret hangar conveniently?
Because she has kind of always had this hesitancy to her. She has always made Darrow kind of try to prove himself to her. She's always taken this higher position.
Then it comes up like Rags is the one that arranged the meeting.
And
Darrow
Darrow
let Kavax go.
And really,
But,
Darrow is
trust
just
Ragnar, trust Mustang.
Yes, there's been some time that's gone by, but I feel to hear that Darrow is still trying to get it out of his mind that he thought Mustang was the one that betrayed him to the Golds.
Yeah. And I'm not pinning this all on Mustang. I'm putting this on both of them. I feel they're both of the same kind. They are both driven, and in some ways I feel self-centered and petty. And so when the two of them are together and trying to talk things out, they're always very stilted and they don't share the necessary, almost like...
I don't know how to get my petty to match your petty.
Yeah, exactly. I like almost the way he is with Rogue. Where I'm sitting there, I'm sitting there going, Darrow, why can't you just say what needs to be said? And now when you have two Darrows, where I feel Mustang and Darrow are the same character in a lot of ways, I'm just sitting there going like, why can't you just say what needs to be said here
Because
and bring
Darrow
things to where it
doesn't
needs to
like
be?
talking or saying anything about what he's going to
rather-
do, specifically his plans, which never get written down in the book, but everybody seems to know the plans in the book, but the reader doesn't get to... Sorry.
He'd rather punch his friends.
Yeah, that's true.
So she gets on the luxury yacht.
They get on the luxury yacht.
Yeah.
I'm thinking they're going to attack Adrius at Attica. But actually, no, they're going to go see Ragnar's mother.
And that's something of, oh wait, when did this get decided? Between him climbing the mountain and between this war that's happening on this moon, now they're going to go...
And is Quicksilver still sitting in a cell somewhere?
No.
He's out, but
they've hacked
they
the
left him
things.
out. They knew with that, but it's just... Darrow's
Yeah, because they let him out and he's like, take my luxury yacht.
Darrow's plans never get said, yet everyone knows what the plans are.
I
And they're
see
hidden.
where your problem is with that, because I mean, a lot of the book is really expanded upon. But like, if they discussed his plans, then they did his plans. Like, this book would kind of suck.
And the reason why part of it is that the plans of... It's a nice ripped shirt, by the way, Club. Sorry. And the planning process here, yes, it's not a mystery book, though. Why does the reader have to not know the plans? Yes, I get you're trying to build suspension. Or suspense. Why am I saying suspension? Trying to build vehicles here as well.
The luxury yacht has
terrible
very good...
suspension.
No, it's got very good suspension.
I would hope so. But the fact of... Well, I'm trying to hide every single, they could be bumping, they're on the way. Trying to hide every plan. It's not like the characters of the book are reading this.
Right.
It's happening. You can say some of the plans. It feels like every plan is, well, I'm going to tell you, and I'm not telling anyone else.
Right.
And later on, though.
And once you try to tell everybody else, you're going to shut your comm off.
Yeah, exactly. And later on, there's a moment where it talks about other characters. They have plans that are secret, but it never works for those characters.
Right.
But it will always work for Darrow's secret
And
plans.
kind of going back to is Darrow being crazy and not trusting Mustang? I mean, even Victra asks him over the private comm that if you have to, can you pull the trigger and kill her?
Right.
I mean, Victra doesn't even trust her.
Which is a great, perfectly in character Victra line.
It's a great start to chapter 25.
Can you smoke her? Because if you need, if the time comes that you have to shoot her, let me know now. Because if you can't, I will.
Right. Yeah. And I'm not saying that any of this is not justified. I feel that a lot of this is justified. I'm just saying, when you are creating all of this, you can kind of manipulate what the tone is and everything. When I'm in the third book and I'm getting close to the middle, I'm not as satisfied where this relationship is at. And maybe I'm a hopeless romantic or whatever, but I would like them to be getting together more at this point than still having this holding guns to each other's head thing, because I know where this book is going to go
at this point.
We are going to get them together by the end of this book, but we're worlds apart at this point.
Well,
so how is that going to happen?
They allow her to get on the boat.
We'll see what you think at the end.
They allow her to get on the boat. Mustang gets on the boat, and we're going to shoot off because we're going to go get the Obsidian army.
Yep. Yeah. Here in 25 Exodus.
Yeah. So
we've kind of talked about a lot of the stuff in this chapter.
And they hide.
I was going to say we've mainly talked
except
about
for
all this.
And they hide in the trash.
Hide in the trash, of course. It's a nice little gag there.
Yeah.
But then they get towards, and someone, it's clearly got to be Boba Fett, somehow knew, well, they're going to hide in the trash.
Yeah.
And they get followed by a gold ship.
Yeah,
And thank goodness they make it all the way. They make it to within the Mars atmosphere before they're shot
and then
down.
finally crash.
I feel like it's very well done.
I did like it, yes.
They're just getting in the atmosphere and they're like, oh crap, somebody's following us.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking like, oh, there's just some dingbat that's just following them. Like, oh wait, no, it's coming really fast. Oh crap! It has guns. Yeah, no, this was super.
So
cool.
they crash, and so into chapter 26, the ice.
The description of the back half of the ship getting shot off and them having to grab the safety webbing going through, I thought was a great description as the ship is
safety
crashing.
webbing. First of all, awesome.
Yeah, really cool. I mean, it
The
makes
fact
sense.
that we are having
real
it
world.
safe.
It's real world. It's real world. Yeah.
Why would there not be safety measures on this amazing luxury yacht Asgards?
Well, then once they crash, they're caught in the safety webbing.
They have to cut their way out. They're sinking.
Which I will say,
They were pretty calm.
part of the side of my life is I am a firefighter.
You said
and
that.
I've worked many car accidents where something has crashed and people have to cut their way out, or you have to cut people out of the seatbelt, out of the vehicle. And so this was a very realistic description to me.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and even chapter 26, the ice, is just an awesome, stressful chapter.
Very stressful.
Escaping and into the cold water and into like the.
Their faces are the worst though because of the seal skin.
Seal skin
that they have.
But they're able to cut themselves out. They cut through the ice. Holiday pops up through the ice as well.
But
Darrow doesn't know where Ragnar is.
You know, Ragnar is being chased by some sort of carved creature that he can just like feel is behind them. I felt it. I could just feel him like pulling the razor out and trying to when you try to move fast in water and there's just all that resistance and you're just not as quick as like
He should just let himself get swallowed and cut his way out of his butt.
But I really like Holiday at this moment though.
Yes.
When
Holiday's a badass.
Oh yeah, I love Holiday
yeah.
because Darrow's like, nope, Ragnar's my friend. I'm gonna go get him. Shoots at his feet.
Right.
No, you're too important. You cannot do this. And they're sitting there arguing. Mustang dies.
Razor and torch. Here we go.
Great moment for Mustang here.
Yeah, great moment for Mustang here.
Don't look at me like I don't like Mustang. I like Mustang. I like Mustang.
Why don't you just stay up there on Team Laura or Team Victra?
I am over here on Team Victra. Victra would have done this so much better.
No man is an island.
But no, great moment for Mustang. She dives in. All of a sudden, we have her and dying Ragnar get thrown up on the ice.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Leading into
And
27.
this whole, don't you die on me. You're my friend. friend.
Yep.
I have been and always shall be your friend as he's beating on his chest.
Yeah, and these freaking like.
I'm seeing The Abyss, the movie The Abyss, when they save one of the main characters are pounding on her chest and saying kind of the similar thing.
Yeah, just the cliche Hollywood lines. Don't you die!
Yeah, exactly.
And the weird method of CPR that is not CPR.
Yeah,
I feel like with Ragnar though, like that's all you got. Like, homeboys.
You're not moving that rib cage.
No.
Just
27. These mouthy, maggoty white snails with like thousands of mouths.
I don't know what's going on. Although weird description, it says the creature on Mustang is described as shaped like a snail in full sprint.
Yeah, like
I can't imagine a snail.
Oh,
like like a snail's kind of like it, but like
I see
stretch
what
out.
you're saying. So that's their version of a sprint is long.
Okay.
I saw it. Did you guys catch? Ragnar has 6 fingers on his hands.
Yes.
Yeah.
All obsidians do.
It's
a breeding thing.
I just caught that here. I'm like, what the?
That's actually a biblical reference to Goliath having the same amount.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
And,
well, there you go.
And this is chapter 27 now. We can't.
Yes.
A lot of this, and I know
it does bleed.
These chapters flowing very fast, and this is where the book picks back up.
It does really pick up.
Yes,
I agree.
Which is a good thing. And now we're 27, almost 28. They find out that
let's just run them as a same thing.
The specific ship that was chasing them had Cassius, and they're hoping, well, what if Aya is with them?
Yeah, right.
Ooh.
And I'm like, here it comes.
Fight.
Plus, there's no way Cassius doesn't have his elite guards with him.
Of course.
That's Cassius.
Are there going to be obsidians? Oh, wait, they're on a planet.
And this is actually,
right.
Just talking about how it picks up here. Man, this is like 11:30 on a Monday night for me. And I'm between chapter 27 and 28 here. I'm like, okay, fine.
I'm gonna do it.
No, I closed it. And this is when I was talking to you this week, and I'm like, I got like 20 pages left, and I didn't want to stop.
Yeah, I'm just going.
Oh my god, this is so hard for me to stop here.
Yeah.
Let's hold on here. This is there's something important. Death approaches. A storm approaches.
Yeah, and they have no food, no supplies, really anything. And they go to the
and I love how the golds are reacting to the weather, but Ragnar's just...
Yeah, he's just cool.
Ragnar just almost died, just essentially came back from the dead. And...
brushes his shoulders.
Yeah, but has no reaction here to the wind and the cold. And even the high-powered golds are like, this weather sucks. And no.
You stay here, I'll find it.
This refills the ice in my veins.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think he even uses the word like he's loping around. Like he's just like he's having the time of his life.
I'm home.
It's been so hot everywhere I've gone.
Exactly, right?
And without their supplies, they start thinking, well, wait a minute, the other ship crashed somehow, and it was shot down by Ragnar.
Let's go get those supplies.
Yeah, and we find this out now that through the back end of the ship that's been blown off, essentially Ragnar fired a rocket launcher to shoot down the other ship.
Which is awesome.
So it's almost like Drax stole that in Guardians of the Galaxy.
As they're crashing.
Yeah.
But and they're going towards the ship, and I'm reading the chapter, feast. Oh, well, they're fine. They're going to get food.
Yeah. That's not what we're talking about.
No.
That was my thought. Just, they're going to get food.
Yeah, that's
fine.
totally what I thought. Like, they're going to show up, they get their food, they'll heal up.
And these eaters of the dead, cannibalists.
Yes,
obsidians.
and which trope has Pierce not grabbed? Oh yeah, cannibals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they're even called Eaters of the Dead, like from Michael Crichton's book. I'm seeing that they're disturbed Ewoks. This is the third of the trilogy. So,
but they're obsidians.
Cannibals. They're obsidian Ewoks.
But they're obsidian.
Yeah, huge.
They're like the obsidian Oathbreakers.
Yeah.
They're like the obsidian wildlings.
Yeah,
I had no problem with it as they were based. As the Obsidians are based more tribal-wise, because there's always those ones who are kicked out of certain tribes.
Well, exactly.
So, these are just gross.
But just feral. Just feral
just
obsidian.
One of them.
And feral obsidian, we've said a lot here about, well, who cares about the obsidians? But feral obsidians scare the hell out of me.
Yeah.
And as we're getting to the end of this book, the obsidian culture is one of my favorite parts of this trilogy.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, but there's an obsidian that tackles Darrow and starts like trying to bite his nose off, and it's talked about the festering sores around its mouth, and I'm like, oh my god,
it's pretty crazy.
There's like the golds that are strung up in the webbing and their
upside
skin
down,
is missing.
upside down because because they were caught in the webbing or they died in the crash.
What does it say? Like they get into the ship and there's nothing happening and they hear a sucking noise and I'm like, oh, it's like I'm thinking there's a pressure leak or something.
Oh, yeah.
No, people are being eaten.
Yeah, that's sucking marrow out of bones.
Just hanging,
Oh my God.
just
Yeah,
hanging like meat in a butcher shop.
So anyway, they kind of take care of him though, and we have this like talk with Ragnar where he talks about his mother.
This
surprised the heck out of me.
Yeah,
they seal themselves in the ship and they're eating food. It's warm on the inside.
We got actual food. We got to make
real food.
Not people. We got to make camp for the night, and we got a little wind resistance here.
We find out that
this is something that just hits so close to where we live and how it feels in January up here that this is just perfect
timing to read this.
Like this felt like I was like out at a cabin on a lake and we have the fire stove ripping and you got to be like really close to it to stay warm and there was something cool about this chapter.
Yeah, and there is the mention here about how our party here tried to basically give an honorable burial to the dead.
Yep.
And they cut them down and they did things. Whereas the people who got out of this ship, who were actually on this ship, who were with these people, who supposedly were friends or co-workers or whatever with these people, just beat the rock out of here.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
So they grabbed the supplies they needed and got out.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. We find out that Obsidian women are polygamists and they have different fathers that are all sworn to protect their brood. And I love that they're very Spartan in that they kill, or the baby must be fit to live, all that kind of stuff.
And this is Pierce again making a political commentary here about the fact that the women are technically the rulers of the Obsidian tribes,
right?
And the women are polygamous,
right? Yeah.
When you think about a polygamous when you think about it, that's the flip of what you think about the stereotypical polygamous relationship.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
They ain't Mormon. Sorry, Utah.
A little bit about
they're more women. No, that didn't work.
Well, a little bit about Mustang too here, and what happened with her mother and her sister. Her sister died in the womb. Her mother killed herself.
Right.
Just kind of glossing over it because we're getting long in the tooth on this episode.
Exactly.
Chapter 29, The Hunters. What a chapter!
Right. Yeah.
They hunt down Cassius and crew. The Eaters have given up their hunt for them.
Yep.
It's just the battlefield is littered with these cannibals.
Oh yeah, what a trail! What a trail to follow through a snowstorm because you're just following a trail of blood through a snowstorm.
Yeah,
I know where they went.
Visually awesome. And let's just get to this epic fight between everybody: Cassius, Aya, Darrow, and Ragnar.
But Mustang's there.
This just seems like a bad idea, though.
It wasn't.
I mean, because they're sitting there going, this is an opportunity. We can take them out. I'm sitting there going, there's 4 of you.
Yep.
Yes, you might take them out, but how are you going to get away from this afterwards?
Yeah. I think this. I think this scene suffers.
I am not happy with what happened to Cassius.
I feel like this scene maybe suffers from some timing issues where, like, I get it. You're trying to slow time down as you're describing what's going on, and that, like, so Mustang is shooting arrows but can't really get off arrows as fast as you think she can get off, and things are being described in, like, slow bullet time almost and things, but you're kind of going, okay, why can't Mustang really do what she's supposed to be doing? Some of these things feels like it's not really how this would go down, in some ways.
The Cassius picture here, I am so disappointed in.
I'm not.
As in how? Tell me.
I was curious.
He takes an arrow to the neck.
Not the knee, as
this is said in our intro. He takes an arrow to the neck, and that's what really takes him down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If Cassius was going to be killed, but okay, granted, he was still gurgling when we last left him.
Right.
But if Cassius is going to go down, I feel it should have been more of a duel.
I thought it had to have been Mustang and he's not dead, is he? You're ruining this for me. With
what? No, I didn't say anything.
Okay,
like I said, he's still
gurgling later, and that's where he's going to die.
That being said, I felt it was a cheap shot on Cassius that while he's fighting Darrow, Mustang shoots him through the neck. I felt that was a cheap shot.
Right.
In just an honor-bound dueling system.
Jerk.
I didn't try to.
You're giving looks.
Shut up. But just in honor of dueling system. That being said,
Yep.
I really enjoyed the Ragnar Aya fight.
The end of that confused me. The only thing that I used to like was that Mustang killed Cassius.
Fitting.
But
It was almost like a redemption moment where like, because there was also like a point when they're talking about the stuff that's in the ship that her earrings are with his stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait. And they just gloss over like, oh, here's Cassius's like bracelets or something. Oh, and those are my earrings. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
In the bedroom
Well, you know,
with them?
because I have residual resentment for the relationship stuff earlier on where she was with Cassius. So I like it as well that she's the one to put the arrow through his neck, and I like it.
But that being said, the earrings
But I agree with you.
made me feel maybe Cassius felt a little bit more for that relationship than what it was. That's why he kept his earrings, her earrings with him.
Yep.
But
I am just
Cassius gets shot through the neck.
But I can't believe you're talking about Cassius. It's Ragnar that I'm going, I can't believe he's dying right here.
But let's go back to the fight. Let's go back to the fight.
I just needed to show how much Aya is going to...
I agree. It's needed. No, I'm not downing this, but I just didn't want it to happen.
Yeah.
And I like for the first little bit of the fight.
This is Chewbacca
For the first, it is.
Yeah.
For the first little bit of the fight, though, Ragnar's staying with her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ragnar's staying with her. And then she drops into her cavett, and she drops into, everything else.
Yeah.
And even though Ragnar's starting to get cut, and he's starting to get hurt, and he's not staying with her, he keeps going.
Yeah.
He doesn't hesitate. He never hesitates. He never thinks. He just fights her, and he keeps going through. And he's actually, there's a little strategy. Even though he's getting mauled throughout this fight, he keeps all through this fight. She's doing all her little, moves, sword moves, and everything, and he's fighting her, and he's staying with her at some points, and then she's cutting him up at other points. But he keeps backing her up towards the cliff. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so you see that Ragnar has a plan in how he's getting his ass kicked here.
Right.
Yeah, it's the only problem I really have is at the end. Like, I don't really know that it's described very well. It's like she cuts him from spine to belly button. I'm like, well, okay, so is he bisected? What's going on here?
Yeah.
And he's not bisected. And
I pictured it like just halfway.
Yeah, just like right here. On one side, just like right here on one side.
Literally from spine around.
Nobody else can see that.
Going back just to the start of that.
Or as the spin goes, the tip goes in here, and then like one of the bodies spins
into the back. Okay, yeah.
In here, as I'm putting
Nobody
my fingers.
can see this.
Nobody can see this.
And it actually really tickles.
Hang on. Let me grab this sword that we have back here, Luke, and show you.
Yeah, stab me. Chapter 30, The Quiet. The Quiet?
The Quiet. Yeah.
And my only notes are Rags, ...
Yeah, no, this is awful. Down the Chewbacca for me. I really wanted to see Ragnar come through to the end, and I'll just put it
especially since we find out in here this information that within the Obsidian Society, the only way that they're going to get the Obsidian army is Ragnar came here to kill his mother.
Right. And so let me just throw this out here again, going through to the end, kind of.
Yeah.
Ragnar is immediately replaced by his sister Sephi, and I like Sephi, but it's not
too soon.
But it's too soon. It's not a replacement that I love.
I would
have rather had Ragnar to the end instead of like Ragnar's dead. Oh, but her sister's here. His sister's here. Who cares? And we kind of go through with the same character, only a different version.
Okay.
The whole, through the rest of the book, and I'm like, well, I'd have rather had it be Ragnar. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying emotionally, I loved Ragnar, and I never really loved Sephi ever.
Yeah. And it made it that much more heartbreaking with Ragnar dying before he could complete the mission that he came here for Darrow. He came here to kill his mother because he loves Darrow so much.
Right.
And believe me, we're all guys in this room. Mm-hmm. We all grew up with mothers.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. Well, until we meet Mom, I don't know if that'll hold true.
Well, yes, and I know this, and I understand the culture, but it was still the whole. he understood, and he never shared it because he knew that the rest of this culture wasn't going to take what his culture does in order for him to do that.
Right.
I'm gonna miss those bold print words the rest of the time.
I know, right?
Yeah, everyone in Obsidian is not talking bold.
We had to
print.
save money.
And my last little bits of notes on this on this chapter, I have kind of like this thing about I don't like how we're stripping away kind of every character that I like. That this death of Ragnar is wonderful in that kind of tragic way, but I don't feel like this should be Game of Thrones where you have to kill everything to maintain tension and tragedy. You know what I'm saying?
However, the Hound comes back.
That's true.
I keep waiting for the Hound to come back.
There is something satisfying to me about a core group that even though it might be trite, they make it through to the end, and I always kind of saw Ragnar as one of the guys making it through to the end, and I don't really like that he dies. And maybe I would have liked if he died and we never get a replacement, but we literally get Sephi, who is a replacement who does the exact thing that Ragnar was going to do, and then follows through like Ragnar to the end of this book. And you're just like, well, what was the point? You just killed him because it was a middle of the book going, you killed Ragnar, but we need this character still here. You killed Chewbacca, but he had a sister named Ubaka, and we're just gonna have him through to the end of the book. I feel this is done for tension and tragedy that isn't necessary.
When you say it like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now because now you know the.
Well, and then a bunch of
spoiler,
and then a bunch of the Obsidians repel into the pit.
Yeah.
A bunch of the Obsidians repel into the pit of despair here that Aya just fell into and can't find the body.
Yeah, so we know she's coming back.
Oh yeah, so she is weird Sith Lord going to come back at some point here.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, she'll be
because we know it needs to
Darth
be
Maul with the spider legs or something.
Yeah, Mecha Maul.
Should we power through the end here?
We have to
skim over some things
because it's a big book. The Pale Queen. So let's just go to this queen. They fly.
I hate to kind of skim over the Obsidian culture is so good, but you know what? I couldn't do it justice if I wanted to. You just need to read this book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And just dive into this weird bastardized Norse culture.
Yeah.
And we meet Queen Alia.
Aliyah.
Yeah.
Somebody. Cassian's still alive, I guess. He's gurgling on the back of the griffin.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
She
Allie Snow Sparrow, which I find funny because she's described as Snow Sparrow, yet she's freaking huge,
bigger than Ragnar,
and ugly as sin.
Yeah.
But yet she has this dainty name, Allie Snow Sparrow, and just ugly son of a gun.
Yeah, she said she's not going to help them. She throws the gang into prison
because they realize though that their whole plan is to open her eyes. Though,
yeah,
their whole plan is to open her eyes to. Nope,
you guys are slaves.
You're being controlled.
Yeah.
Basically, she's going. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. I know we're controlled, and I don't care.
That's okay.
Yeah,
that's all right.
Which I like.
I'm still in charge.
I love this that you have
sense.
somebody who knows what's going on but is complacent to it, and I love this because this is a fix for me. Because I'm kind of going Obsidian culture, going. You are sitting here. You join with the fleets. How can you possibly believe these people are gods? Mm-hmm. That's naive beyond the pale. I love that their leader knows that it's going on.
And again, those that join with the fleets, do they really ever come back?
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm feeling like, okay, to be a leader, you can't be this stupid and naive to really think that they're gods.
Yeah.
No.
And so I love that she doesn't.
But we have a majority of this population that
does because they're
essentially
isolated.
The gods descend, take them to Avalon, and none of the rest of the creatures, none of the rest of the Obsidians ever see them again. Avalon, Asgard, pick it doesn't matter. Pick your Diet ways.
Nirvana.
Chapter 32, No Man's Land. Sephi brings them to Asgard by way of Griffin.
Yep.
Darrow seeks her help and she agrees. But Dee suspects that she had already suspected her mother's own duplicity. That Sephi kind of knew.
Which is funny. Right. Sephi never talks.
She had taken a vow of silence.
Yeah. She's able to portray all of this.
She knows the way.
Yeah, we're in 32, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I love this description as they go up this primeval kind of Nordic landscape. Like in a movie, visually this would be stunning. Mm-hmm. But I can't help as they go over this giant ice bridge with all these spires and they go into this temple that says it's a giant screaming face. I just see Castle Grayskull.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't.
See, I saw the head of the Night King.
Oh,
from
okay.
Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Where it's just
yeah, man, there's just so...
That's probably what he's going for, more than
this is-
Grayskull. But
I felt like the Obsidian culture was so rich and so well explained.
I could have spent more time.
I can't picture it correctly.
I agree.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, man. Let's just Red Rising Book 4, and hanging out with Obsidians.
I did, but
Did anybody
Cribs,
Did
Obsidian
any
edition.
of
the
you
ice
find this
bridge
jarring? Like
the ice bridge was
That was so cool.
The ice bridge for me was a weird bastardization of Bifrost.
Bifrost. Yeah, I agree. Did any of you find this jarring?
Yeah.
Because what you just said, Luke, is kind of like my feelings. I didn't really want to go into them, but I'm with you. I love this, but it almost in some ways feels like a universe separate to itself.
But I feel like
You know what I'm saying? Like, it almost
explains
doesn't fit.
That it's the early days of the Golds where they just had all this time and money and technology to make this just look ludicrous.
Yeah.
A floating black mountain with like stairs that came down and met the rest of the earth.
And this is
Like-
where I think a movie would lend itself very well to this, or whatever, something because visually,
a CGI movie like
because
Avatar,
visually,
I don't know.
you know
That's
what?
exactly what I was thinking.
Gotta
Was
be.
like black. It was like black snowy Avatar.
Because you know what happens to me sometimes is we read this stuff and I know that we're future and this is like ancient Rome and they're wearing armor that is reminiscent of Roman armor, so everything would fit. You'd have this Nordic culture that's ancient looking but futuristic kind of. You'd have this gold culture that's ancient Roman, but then we just got done with this entire part where it felt like 007 and I'm back in Splinter Cell mode, and then all of a sudden we're dumped back into Nordic culture.
Splinter Cell in space. And then all of a sudden we're using axes.
So I have trouble sometimes constantly maintaining in my mind the like, but it's kind of got an ancient feel to it.
Yeah.
So sometimes this pops off the pages being like, wow, this is odd. But it's cool. I'm with you. It's cool. But it sometimes comes off as weird.
They get up there, a violet man playing the part of a priest answers them. Sephi presents Darrow's razor, but he's cut off from all communications because of Quicksilver's hacking. Woo! So he has no idea what's going on.
Which I like.
Yeah, super guy. It goes right into chapter 33, Gods and Men. They are brought before the gods, Freya and Loki.
Yeah.
2 golds in costumes.
Yeah.
They ask to see the weapon of the gods. Sephi
It turns out Loki is Proctor Mercury.
Oh, so good.
So come back. We're coming back.
It's what he just like straight up decapitates Freya, chucks his razor into Loki, and it's described really well that it pauses quickly as it hits his ion shield. I can't remember what they're called.
Yeah.
Pulse field.
Yeah.
Pulse field.
Pulse armor. Yeah. Pauses quickly, but the momentum's too much. Just into his chest. He falls over, but he's still like gargling, breathing.
Yeah, I love this.
The line.
He just killed gods.
Yeah, he just killed gods. Proctor Mercury is the unluckiest gold I've ever seen.
I love it.
And I just had I did have the moment here of just puny gods.
Yeah, exactly.
I was more thinking that's the worst pirate I've ever seen. Or you're the worst pirate I've ever heard of, which you have heard of me.
So into chapter 34, God Killers.
Real quick, the last there's a line towards the end of 33. Treason is a matter of the date. Mustang says.
Which is a great line.
Oh, that's so good, so good. Okay, anyway, chapter 34.
God Killers.
We're just gonna skip killing or murdering everybody in Asgard because you know what? You know we're that good.
Yeah. They fly back to the spires. Darrow.
5 prisoners.
Darrow is dressed in the armor of Odin, which I like, and Mustang is Freya.
Which was how weird was that armory or that costume room?
Yeah.
Like, okay, we got Odin over here. Okay, Loki's got blood on it.
Yeah.
So I kept waiting for them to keep going down the line.
Dibs on Thor.
Yeah. Sephi ends up being Tyr, which is a great metal band from the Faroe Islands. If
She
you want to
would?
look up. She wears the armor of Tyr. Sephi.
Oh, Sephi.
Yes.
Sephi does.
You
Sephi does.
said Sephi. I heard Elia. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, Elia. They come in there like, hey, this is what's going on. Elia and her shaman.
Yeah.
Are like, no, this is the way it's gonna go. Blah blah blah.
She straight up decapitates
Yeah,
her.
just whoosh, you're done.
Well, and this was a great setup in here too of Sephi coming in to battle her mother, or Sephi coming in the armor of Tyr, since Tyr is the Norse goddess of truth and justice.
Yes, which I like. Yep. Yep.
Very good. Seffi speaks for the first time in 25 years.
And I so wanted it to be bold.
But it's not because her voice.
I guess her voice isn't as whatever. But she has a great axe named Throgmere.
Oh, that's cool. She opens the war chest that hasn't been opened, forever. And she rallies the Obsidians to go to war for the golds. Asgard has fallen. And at the end, we hit the line, just what have we unleashed?
I was going to turn to that, yeah.
I wrote it down.
Yeah, I love it.
So
And again,
really, they locked them up here for a reason.
And within a culture here, too, that is, based on Norse culture, that it's based on, Odin, who is the All-Father, and run by women who are the All-Mothers, and Seffi just walked in and killed her mother.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree.
Well,
and they're not ready for this in a lot of ways. Yeah. You're releasing them because you need them on your side, but they're a culture who have believed these are all gods, and they've just realized it now.
Yeah. Yes. Oh,
they're not controllable. They're at this point, this is what have we unleashed?
Again, though, going back to what we've seen of Obsidians before, they better do something. Because if it's like the Obsidians we've seen before, well, I'm not too worried. Again, I hate saying it that way because every single time it's been, there's like 6 peerless scarred Obsidians. Or stained Obsidians. And they're dead. So something had better happen with them.
But again,
where they feel
what
happens?
Better. What happens when you take the chains off the dragon?
True. Well, they kind of have been off the dragon. I mean, when they fight in regular battle, they're not being limited in any way.
But they're still being chained by the society. And
their belief system, I guess. But in war, they're not.
But in war, they are because they're still under this mantle of the golds.
I suppose, in terms of weapons they use, I guess.
Yeah, well, exactly. But still this mantle of the golds, and yes, they are allowed to kill golds, but those are the bad golds. I can't go after my own golds.
They're kind of killing gods, I guess.
I can't go after my own golds.
I guess it begs the question, what do Obsidians really think once they get into space and are working under golds and killing golds? And I mean, you would think these guys must know now this is all fake.
Well, hopefully we'll find out in parts 3 or 4. By the sounds of it, no, we won't.
Or we are hiding things because 2 people haven't finished reading the book yet.
Well, he's not hiding things very well.
Yes.
There might be a reason. So before I think you need another.
Before we have any more spoilers going on here,
or we have any
haven't said any.
For Luke and my hearts.
No, Neil,
at this point.
You guys haven't said anything, and Neil, you've been very good.
Yeah, not me.
At any rate, that is the end of part 2, Rage, moving into part 3, Glory, which we will get to in episode 12.
Yeah.
Oh, we've already done 12 of these.
That's amazing.
Well, we've done 11. We're going into 12 here. Well, we've done more than that because the bonus episodes we want to add. At any rate.
Yeah.
Hey, and by all means,
thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us. If you like what we've said, if you don't like what we've said, if you want to argue with us, by all means, let's all have a nice, respectful adult argument online.
Or
can you do that?
Can you have that?
I don't know. Hit us up on hit us up on the Facebook. Hit us up on the Twitters.
Reddit.
What are you, like 80 years old? I'm gonna go use the Google.
What's the past tense of tweet?
Look us up on AOL.
Keyword Dungeons and Dweebs. That's more than one
messenger.
Hey, thank you guys so much for joining us. Man, this has been just a load of fun, but we've got a tab to settle up. I don't know. I think that
I think it's Bob's turn finally because he's been mooching off of every single
I have been mooching a lot. Okay, guys, I guess my wife gave me a little bit of money before I left. All right.
That was that bulge in your pocket.
All right.
Well, hey, Hunt, come over here. We got another round going.
All right, hey, why don't you take these? I know they're Shroot Bucks. I don't know what the conversion is to Galactic Credits.
Hey, come on over.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Dungeons and Dweebs. There's even more adventuring to be had at our website, dungeonsanddweebs.com. We would love to hear from you. You can email us at dungeonsanddweebspodcast@gmail.com. You can also find Dungeons and Dweebs on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Find all those links at dungeonsanddweebs.com. If you enjoyed the podcast, please help spread the word by leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes. The music for Dungeons and Dweebs is Fatal Fight by Royalty Free Kings and can be found on their website, royaltyfreekings.com. Dungeons and Dweebs is a Tim Gilbert Media production. Copyright 2017. All rights reserved. And no part of this show can be reproduced, repurposed, or redistributed without the express written permission of Tim Gilbert Media.